Chapter 1196, Surrounded by 8 Devil Lords. A half-step true god expert could easily be a peak expert of any race and suppress many worlds. One of the many abilities they had that placed them above ordinary Type 9 powerhouses was their vitality. Even if they were flattened to a meat paste, as long as there was still something, they could easily regenerate an entire body. Such a terrifying survivability meant that most half-step true gods were impossible to kill. It was because of this that most factions would not dare provoke a faction that had such an expert. Zhong's god devil flames were devastating, but to kill a half-step true god, he would still need to spend some time. Jeffrey eyed Zhong with a cold glint and screamed out, "Kill him! We cannot let him gain the golden bow. Otherwise we will all die here with a burial. And this human is too dangerous. We need to kill him. We definitely cannot let him keep on growing." The physiques of the devil race were strong, hence, the overall quality of the experts of the devil race was above the human race. This time, of the peak experts among the devil race, there were 8 half-step true devil class overlords. The 8 devil lords swept Zhong a look, their eyes filled with killing intent. Earlier, Zhong's radiant battleship had fired a powerful beam that a half-step true god could not even withstand. If he was allowed to grow, they would all definitely be slaughtered. In truth, most of them had already harbored killing intent towards Zhong since the 2nd level. Lowly human, let go of the nobility in your hands. Following an enraged roar, the earth split apart as devil chi surged, forming a huge devil hand that grabbed out at Zhong. Zhong frowned and his silhouette flashed. With the golden bow in one hand, his right hand was shrouded in golden light as it slammed into the huge devil hand, causing it to dissipate. When Delsa saw this, there was a look of joy in his eyes as he screamed out frantically, "Save me! As long as you save me, I will give you benefits." Zhong had just destroyed the huge devil hand when all of a sudden, a silhouette that was hidden in the shadows behind him thrust out with a transparent dagger. This expert that was trying to sneak up on Zhong was the Shadow Devil Lord. He was a half-step true god with the gold-grade weapon Dark Shadow blades in his hands. Other than gold-grade shields, nothing else could withstand those blades. Furthermore, they had the additional property of poisoning the soul. Thus, even if a true god warrior were to be pierced by it, their indestructible soul would still be affected, corroding away until their death. Zhong's god devil physique was currently shrouded by a ladder of the devil equals domain. The moment he felt the Shadow Devil Lord appear, he had already channeled his domain, allowing him to deal with the sudden variable. With the perception of the devil domain, it was as though Zhong had 1,000 eyes, and could capture every single movement of the Shadow Devil Lord clearly. Scram! Zhong's body twisted strangely, slamming a fist at the Shadow Devil Lord. A terrifying strength burst forth, causing a huge, bloody hole in the devil's body as fresh blood flowed. Heavily injured, the Shadow Devil Lord turned around, and leaped towards the shadow of another devil expert, his face full of shock and fear. Sky Devil 9 slashes. Just as Zhong was about to give chase to the Shadow Devil Lord, there was a loud roar from the skies, and a bullhead evil devil lord, wielding a pitch-black devil battleaxe, descended from the skies, cleaving towards Zhong. This was one of the strongest moves of the bullhead evil devil race, comprising of 9 instantaneous slashes, and each adding on to the might exponentially. The laws within would also be stronger by a fold each time, and at the end, when all 9 slashes become one, even a half-step true god could be killed. It was a terrifying power as the energy all around gathered at it, forming a large axe shadow cleaving towards Zhong. The suppression was already causing Zhong's skin to tingle. Each of these 8 devil lords had heaven-defying capabilities. Even Silk Devil Lord Jeffrey, they were not simple characters. Facing that cleave, Zhong could only give up on chasing the Shadow Devil Lord, his eyes narrowing. He then whipped out the golden battle bow and one golden arrow, facing the bullhead evil devil lord and shot it. A powerful arrow bathed in golden sacred light shot through the skies, slamming into the huge axe in the sky after piercing the humongous axe shadow, causing a terrifying blast. With a loud boom, the arrow was knocked away towards Zhong. The bullhead devil lord was also knocked back a dozen li, together with his massive devil battleaxe. This gold-grade battleaxe was his treasure, and he would never ever let go of it, otherwise he would not be sent flying like this. Just as the bullhead evil devil lord was knocked away, countless black devil silk shot out from both sides towards Zhong. Zhong waved his hands as the god devil flames around him burst forth, landing on the silk and incinerating them. "Kiki, little human brother, do you think I'm pretty?" At this time an extremely alluring voice, one that could sway even the toughest of minds, resounded beside Yu Zhong. Under that soul-enchanting voice, Yu Zhong could not help but turn towards it, only to see an extremely beautiful woman, who had a single horn on her forehead, her hair long, lush and black. Her skin was extremely fair like jade and her features were exquisite, coupled with her explosively stunning body, it was truly a spectacle. She was smiling towards Yu Zhong devilishly. This extreme beauty was the charming devil lord. She had the innate ability to entice and attract, giving one a favorable feeling. Furthermore, her charming devil technique had reached a high state. With a single look, she could ensnare countless Type 9 experts to be willing to die for her. Even some half-step true god experts could not resist. Among the 8 devil lords, this charming devil lord had the lowest combat power, but her support was extremely valuable. 4 of the devil lords were her admirers and were head over heels for her. She smiled at Yu Zhong as though she was a fairy immortal descended upon earth. Even Yu Zhong's state of mind was affected slightly. Shit. Yu Zhong was, after all, someone with high willpower and a resolute heart. Yet, the charms of this devil lord was capable of stunning him for a moment, and by the time he stirred awake, he could sense the sound of a void space breaking beside him. He immediately sent a fist toward the right side. Due to his hasty reaction, the person attempting to sneak on him flipped around lightly, sending a kick towards Yu Zhong's head. With a loud blast, the terrifying strength of the assailant passed through the golden battle armor, directly aiming for Yu Zhong. At that moment, Yu Zhong could sense that the assailant was one of the 8 devil lords, the combat devil lord. He had a long tail with countless spikes, and his body was covered in black scales, while his head looked like a kangaroo. The combat devil lord immediately changed into a beam of light and charged back straight at Yu Zhong, assaulting him with countless blows. He was, after all, the top close combatant of the 8 devil lords. His combat experience was rich and potential was even higher than Yu Zhong. The moment both sides came in contact, Yu Zhong was swamped by his blows. They were extremely vicious, and in a matter of seconds, Yu Zhong had been attacked a few hundred times. If it was not for the defense of the gold battle armor, Yu Zhong would have already been blasted apart by the combat devil lord. The combat devil lord's strength was tyrannical and could see that it was impossible to kill Yu Zhong with the gold battle armor. Thus, he focused his blows on disrupting the critical points of Yu Zhong, preventing him from exerting in strength or countering, forcing him to retreat. All 8 devil lords were experienced fighters, and while they seldom joined hands, they were clear about their strengths and weaknesses. The combat devil lord's role was to hold Yu Zhong down, disrupting his rhythm, while providing opportunities for the rest to kill Yu Zhong with their gold-grade treasures. Being harassed by Yu Zhong for barely a second, there was an intense sense of crisis in Yu Zhong's mind, and he hurried to twist his body to the side. The fist of the combat devil lord slammed into Yu Zhong, cutting off his rhythm and path of retreat. The blade devil lord, whose body was covered in sharp blades and a pair of blade wings on his back, appeared like a flash in front of Yu Zhong. Channeling his blade laws, he began to slash out at Yu Zhong, slicing through the gold armor and into his body, breaking a few of his bones as gold blood splattered out. Delsus, the golden eagle, who saw how Yu Zhong was being surrounded, his face broke out in schadenfreude as he laughed madly. Good. Good. Kill him. Work hard and kill that damn human. Haha. Haha. Chapter 1197, Gold Giant God Amano. With the joint forces of the 8 devil lords, even someone like Yu Zhong would be beaten up mercilessly. The rest of the experts were also fighting it out among themselves over the 4 gold-grade treasures, and the entire region was rocked by intense power fluctuations. Countless shock waves slammed into the strange giant on the throne. As the shock waves continued to hit the body of the giant, they were absorbed mysteriously. All of a sudden, the giant opened his eyes and reached out to grab a Type 9 WRM dragon. The Type 9 WRM dragon was shocked and opened its jaws hastily to fire out a dragon's breath at the giant. The dragon's breath contained laws of corrosion, and even a half-step true god expert would not be willing to let the breath come in contact. The giant on the throne did not even evade as he allowed the breath to touch his body, letting out sizzling sounds, and part of his body started rotting. He then used both his hands to rip the Type 9 WRM dragon violently, as gold blood splattered everywhere. The Type 9 WRM dragon let out an agonized scream. In the midst of its howl, The giant stuffed both ends of the Type 9 WRM dragon into his mouth and chomped down savagely. In less than 2 breaths he had already consumed the Type 9 beast. After that, he seemed to have recovered some strength, and with a vicious glint in his eyes, he looked at the numerous experts clashing in the sky above him. Waving his hands, he sent the golden chains around him blasting out. In an instant, the 20 gold chains pierced through 20 Type 9 experts who were battling, penetrating their bodies. Help! Save me! The Type 9 experts who had their bodies pierced had expressions of shock as they roared out in pain and fear. Their bodies started to wither, as though their life was being sucked out of them before they finally became emaciated corpses that fell out of the sky. Seeing this terrifying scene, everyone who had been slaughtering madly came to their senses and scattered, staring at the golden giant on the throne with fear and wariness. The 8 devil lords who were going all out to kill Zhong also stopped, standing afar watching the golden giant in trepidation. They could sense the terror that this monster was capable of. On the seat, the giant was staring at everyone coldly, with a disdainful and prideful gaze. I've finally awakened from my slumber. Are you all the new challengers of the Tower of Babel? I'm the guardian of the 3rd level, golden giant god Amano. Here, half of you have to die before I open up the 4th level for you. Furthermore, only those who had killed would be allowed to leave. The rest would turn into corpses and nourish the land here. There was an insidious glint in his eyes as he spoke coldly. The more you kill, the stronger you're placing in the 4th level. The one who kills the most would be the first to enter the 4th level. The next highest would be the 2nd, so on and forth. Let the slaughter begin. Entertain me, ants. Hearing those words, the experts were all shocked as they retreated a few steps. Only those who had kept quiet and were the furthest from the battlefield were all thoroughly fearful now. They were the lowest existences and would become the prey for the stronger existences. After just barely a second, a half-step true god peacock expert opened its tails and fired out numerous golden beams at the Type 7 and 8 experts. Under the blasts of those golden beams, many of the Type 7 and 8 experts were vaporized. The peacock continued to hunt the low-level experts. Once they were all wiped out, then the rest of the Type 9 powerhouses had no choice but to fight among themselves. Once the peacock acted, the rest of the half-step true god experts could no longer wait, as they hurried to act against the lower-leveled powerhouses. No one knew what treasures there were in the 4th level, however, being the first to enter would definitely get the most benefits. This was the general understanding. Even the 8 devil lords who wanted to kill Zhong separated, utilizing their abilities to slaughter the low-leveled powerhouses around them. Under the allure of becoming a true god expert, the 8 devil lords no longer had the intentions to bother with Zhong. As long as they could become a true god, they could easily slap Zhong to death. In that short span of time, the power surges in the entire region had intensified by over 10 times. As the countless experts were slaughtering among themselves, even those who had tried to act like pigs to eat tigers, and stayed far from the battlefield, were all drawn into the massacre inevitably. At every second, there were many Type 9 experts who fell from the skies, their blood dyeing the ground red. Amidst the mad slaughter, many half-step true god experts were heavily injured, their bodies broken after all, under the countless of attacks that contained principles and laws, those who did not have any gold-grade armors could not withstand. However, half-step true god experts were tough to kill, and even if their bodies were broken they could regenerate quickly. The massacre got even more intense due to the overpowering greed in everybody's hearts, their eyes filled with violence and killing intent. No one had noticed that amidst the slaughter, a number of gold chains were squirming under the ground, piercing into those broken Type 9 bodies and absorbing their life force. As the absorption amount grew, the stern and quiet golden giant god Amano's eyes seemed to grow brighter. Zhong was extremely clear that he was slightly behind, thus becoming the first to enter the 4th level was somewhat impossible. He did not partake in the mad slaughter, instead he observed the giant who called himself the golden giant god Amano. He had not yet seen a live true god expert. After Zhong killed a few Type 9 experts, he flew to one side and stared at Amano with a doubtful gaze. Golden giant god? A true god expert? Not right, he's not exuding the sort of pressure a true god warrior should be emitting. However, it is definitely much stronger than normal half-step true god experts. What monster is this? Suddenly, a blood-soaked Type 9 lizard dragon devil, whose eyes were bloodshot, flew towards Zhong. Zhong slapped out casually and its body burst apart, while its nucleus shot towards Zhong. When the dismembered corpse fell to the ground, one golden chain pierced into the parts and quickly sucked it dry. Zhong's eyes widened in shock. Not good, that fellow is lying. There were many experts of the world within this third level. Although many had become blinded by greed, there were also a few who had maintained their caution and tore themselves away from the slaughter, staring at Amano suspiciously. The might of a true god warrior was overwhelming, and slapping a half-step true god expert was as easy as killing an ant. While the might of the golden giant god was above ordinary half-step true god experts, it was not at the overwhelming and suppressing level of a true god. All of a sudden, a half-step true god dino beast expert who had a dinosaur head, a pair of black dragon wings and a half-man half-beast body roared out loudly, "Everyone! This Amano is lying. In order to reach the fourth level we have to kill him. He's trying to drive us to kill ourselves." The roar of that expert carried a slight energy wave to clear their minds, causing many of them to come to their senses. They were not stupid, they had just been blinded temporarily by greed. After regaining their clarity, they were shocked and quickly separated, clashing with the golden skeletons from behind. Many Type 9 experts observed their surroundings and noticed that everyone was either heavily injured or dead. All the low-level experts were already killed, and those that were left were the Type 9 experts of the various races. They were only at the third level, but around 90% of the experts had already fallen along the way. However, many Type 8 experts had also attained some breakthroughs, reaching the Type 9 realm. Many Type 9 experts gained benefits as well, allowing themselves to hit the next tier within the Type 9 realm. Amano swept the Dino Beast expert a furious gaze as he roared out, "Audacious, you dare to accuse a true god. It's an unpardonable crime. Kill this person. Whoever kills him first would get the chance to reach the fourth level. Inside the fourth level, there are secrets to reaching the true god realm. The first one to enter would stand a higher chance to reach the true god realm." Hearing those words, many were ready to act. However, they were all long-time crafty foxes and had just been blinded earlier. Now, although they were sorely tempted, they did not act out so hastily. Chapter 1198, The Cunning Amano. One particularly good-looking half-step true god expert with a red crystal pearl on her forehead spoke out, "Your Eminence Amano, we have already accomplished our task. The people remaining here are less than half. Please open the way to the fourth level." By now, everyone was already suspicious. Due to the wave of slaughter earlier, all the low-level experts had been killed, and over half of the experts present had already died. They had cleared the objectives of entering the fourth level. Amano stared at the Dino Beast expert that had expressed his doubts and spoke solemnly, "The authority of a true god can never be blasphemed. Kill him. As long as you kill him, the great Amano will open the way to the fourth level." The Dino Beast expert had a sunken expression as he roared out while flapping his wings in order to escape, "He's a liar. We have to join hands and kill him to open the way to the fourth level." When they heard Amano's words, many of the experts who had enmity with the Dino Beast expert quickly chased after him. Some of those Type 9 powerhouses that had racked up the most kills hesitated a moment before they also joined forces against the Dino Beast experts. Although they could not be sure that Amano was speaking the truth, killing one half-step true god expert meant one less enemy in the Tower of Babel. To them, it was definitely a worthy trade-off. Under the joint forces of those Type 9 experts, the half-step Type 9 Dino Beast was mercilessly blasted apart, his corpse desecrated, without even the slightest hint of life. "Very good, you have accomplished what the great Amano has decreed. Now Amano will open up the spatial gateway to the fourth level for you." Amano saw the half-step true god slaughtered under the joint efforts of those Type 9 experts, and with a strange glint in his eyes, he stretched out with his arms, and a massive surge of spatial laws churned, causing a pitch-black hole to open up. Amano spoke, "Please enter in an orderly fashion. It will only remain open for 30 seconds. After that, it will close and it would need another round of blood sacrifice to open." Before his words had even finished, many figures shot toward the spatial gate. Being the first to enter the fourth level was too enticing for anyone, even if they had their suspicions at first. The moment they saw the gate opened, their reason had flown out the window. "Get lost. Those who get in my way shall die." The numerous silhouettes sent out their strongest attacks madly at the entrance. Due to the overwhelming attacks and laws, many experts were heavily injured. At this time, no one had the intention to line up according to whoever killed more, as everyone fought to fly into the black space. The first one to enter let out a maniacal laughter, Ha ha ha. I Nissimo am the first to reach the 4th level. I will be the one to reach the true God realm. As he barged through, the rest also continued without care for anything else in the world. Seeing the powerhouses charge through the black tunnel, the eyes of the golden giant had a hint of amusement and ridicule. Zhong stared at the spatial tunnel, his eyes fixed. However, he could not shake off that doubt towards Amano, thus he did not charge straight into space, instead staying where he was, quiet. In the 3rd level, not everyone was blinded by greed. There were some longtime experts who also continued to watch as the low-level, blinded experts charged into the black hole. Amano looked at those powerhouses who were just floating there without moving, his face not betraying any emotions. After 30 seconds, he lowered his hands and closed the spatial hole before announcing impassively, "The spatial gate has closed. In order to open it once more, there have to be enough sacrifices. This time, only a certain number can enter, the other half will become the offerings for the entrance to the 4th level." He was expressionless, and all the half-step true God experts were not able to discern if he was speaking the truth or not. This time, the experts all exchanged looks and communicated secretly, not acting impulsively. All of a sudden, there was a divine sense transmission to Zhong. "Human, this Amano fellow is crafty and dangerous. Let's have a truce until we enter the 4th level for real." Zhong swept out and discovered that it was Jeffrey who was communicating with him. He did not hesitate to reply swiftly, "All right, let's put off our enmity till we enter the 4th level." The golden giant Amano was not only strong but truly cunning, knowing to utilize the hatred and conflict between the various experts to drive further wedges. It was even more difficult to deal with compared to the endless Type 9 red jade mantises on the 1st level. Just a few words from this Amano was enough to send many experts to their doom. It was cruel. The number of Type 9 experts that had fallen due to Amano's instigation was more than a few times that of those who died to the beast hordes. One half-step true god octopus man, whose body was over 80 m in length and had over 100 tentacles, asked, "Great Amano, just now when the spatial gate was opened, why wasn't the order according to the number of kills?" There was a cold glint in Amano's eyes as he pointed at that half-step true god octopus man, and his voice rang out with pressure and authority, "You dare question the mighty god, you deserve death. Kill him. Whoever kills him first, the great Amano will open the spatial gate once more, and allow you through to the 4th level." However, this time no one responded. Everyone was involved with dealing with the Type 9 golden skeletons behind, while the rest were watching Amano's performance coldly. One particular expert whose body was covered in thin dark dough cheese spoke out coldly, "This fellow is definitely a fake. He can only defend this place by goading us to kill among ourselves. Guys, let's all kill him. Based on the past experiences, once he's dead, we will definitely be able to go to the 4th level." After that, the expert waved his hands and caused numerous Type 8 fighter mechs to appear, directly assaulting Amano. The moment he acted, the rest of the experts also had icy gazes as they channeled their laws and executed their techniques towards Amano. Despicable lowlifes. You dare attack the great true god Amano? It is a crime punishable death. Surrender now and I might spare you yet. Amano's eyes flashed dangerously as he let out a loud roar, pointing towards the sky. A surge of energy blasted out, meeting the incoming attacks. Once he broke those attacks from the Type 9 experts, there was a cold beam that shot out of his chest, as it transformed into a golden shield that formed around him. Most of the attacks of the half-step true gods were stopped by the shield, causing a look of shock on the faces of all the half-step true god experts. Is he really a true god expert? After all, the half-god true god experts gathered here were all the peak experts from the 800 worlds. Their joint force could easily wipe out anything lower than a true god existence. Thus, they were naturally shocked when their attacks were blocked. One expert roared out in anger, "No. He might not be. Otherwise he would not be trying to pressure us. Furthermore, since we have already acted, if he really is a true god expert, we have already offended him and he will still kill us anyway. Since we've been forced to this point, we can only kill him." Hearing that enraged roar, the rest all became resolute and continued sending their attacks towards Amano. The expressionless Amano finally had a change in expression as he stood up and turned to flee. If one was not a true god, no matter how strong one was, it was impossible to keep blocking the attacks of an entire group of half-step true gods, especially when they had gold-grade treasures as well. Even a weaker true god would not be able to remain standing when surrounded by a bunch of half-step true gods with gold-grade treasures. The moment Amano fled, the throne he was on split apart, and a bright white beam of light shot towards the sky, forming a spatial gate that was identical to the ones that had appeared in the first and second levels. It's out. This is the true entrance to the fourth level. Seeing that, all of the experts became excited and charged towards the gate, vying to enter the fourth level. Chapter 1199. Insta-kill half-step true god experts. Zhong could also sense the power emitting from the spatial gate, and could not help but feel his heart quicken. He flew towards the gate while thinking, this spatial gate is real. In a few breaths, most of the experts had passed through the gates, and only 6 were floating where they stood. One, who was covered entirely in black, swept out with his divine sense. They have all left. Time to implement our plan. Move out. The 6 black-clothed experts then shot towards the direction of the golden giant. In a few breaths they managed to catch with the golden giant who had fled a dozen kilometers. Greetings, master. As they came up to Amano, they immediately kneeled and spoke respectfully. Amano's gaze was cold as he looked at them and spoke solemnly, very good, you guys have come. The things I require, have you brought them? Master, we have gathered all the things you need. Each of the 6 experts then brought out a gold bottle, placing them on the ground. Amano reached out and grabbed all 6 bottles. With a wave, he opened them and looked in, his eyes filled with joy. True God blood, true God will, true God lingering will, true God bones, true God heart essence, and true God fruit sap. Well done. With these treasures, as well as the 10,000 years of accumulated experience here, I can finally make the step and become a true God. The 6 of you, well done. When the great Amano becomes a true God, I will not mistreat you. Amano laughed out arrogantly and dumped the contents of the 6 golden bottle into his mouth. The moment he absorbed the contents, he shot out a number of golden chains that began to drag all the Type 9 golden skeletons around towards himself. In an instant, over a dozen Type 9 golden skeletons had become stuck on him. From Amano's mouth, silk shot out, wrapping around himself, and he became a huge golden cocoon. The golden cocoon emitted a strange fluctuation, controlling countless golden chains to pull the numerous golden skeletons, Type 9 nuclei towards itself. Very soon, all that was left on the 3rd level was the golden cocoon, which was constantly throbbing and evolving. The moment Zhong entered the 4th level, he saw a shocking scene. There was a single golden river only about 100 kilometers in length and about 5 kilometers wide. However, it contained an abundant source of strength. Zhong could sense that there were fluctuations of the true God realm within, and he was filled with shock. This is the blood essence of a true God expert. Holy! This golden river is actually the remnants of true gods after they fell. Unbelievable. How many deaths would it take to form such a river? Floating on top of the golden river, there were many 1,000-year god blood lotuses. These 1,000 god blood lotuses were formed after absorbing the blood essence from true gods over a period of 1,000 years, each one of them incredibly precious. Outside, a single one could help a Type 6 powerhouse evolve to the Type 8 realm within a few days. If a half-step Type 9 expert were to take one, he or she could instantly become a half-step true god. There were even benefits for Type 9 powerhouses. If a half-step true god expert were to take one consistently while training for 10,000 years, there was a 40% chance of breaking through to the true god stage. After all, it was incredibly difficult for a half-step true god to make that final leap. In the past millennium, the total number of true gods could be counted on one hand. Thus, the usage of those god blood lotuses was enough to drive a half-step true god mad with greed. Without any hesitation, every single expert immediately pounced towards the lotuses. Even Zhong was no exception. They were truly too precious. 2 of them could easily produce a Type 9 powerhouse. Naturally, Zhong desired them as well. A number of hands formed from chi were sent towards the lotuses. Scram, bunch of ants. Following a roar of rage, a number of blood snakes shot out from the golden river of blood, containing the principles and laws of blood, as they destroyed the incoming hands. At the same time, the blood river churned and powerful blood arrows shot out from the surface, aiming for the experts in the sky. Under the barrage of the blood arrows, the combat devil lord that had suppressed Zhong earlier was pierced and screamed out, "Ah! Save me!" Pierced by the combat devil lord, his blood began to flow towards the river below, as his body became withered at an extremely fast pace, and his strength was sapped. He was soon devoid of the strength to even pull out the arrow, as his corpse fell towards the blood river below. Seeing this, the rest of the 7 Devil Lords had ugly countenances, as they hurried to execute their techniques to save the Combat Devil Lord. The speed of the Shadow Devil Lord was the fastest and insidious. In a flash, he had already leaped towards the shadow of the Combat Devil Lord, reaching out to pull out the golden arrow. "Just nice, the two of you can go to hell." Suddenly, there was a mysterious voice that sounded out of nowhere as Zhong, who had been in stealth, appeared and sent a fist at a meteor-like speed towards the body of the Shadow Devil Lord. With a loud blast, the Shadow Devil Lord's body split apart once more as fresh blood splattered. The remaining figure quickly disappeared and appeared behind another Devil Lord. The Shadow Devil Lord was one of the toughest to kill. Zhong's sneak attack could only injure him heavily, and not take him out in one shot. One had to destroy all physical aspects of a half-step true god in order to kill them. Otherwise, even the smallest bit of flesh left could regenerate. Flames of Desolation. After injuring the Shadow Devil Lord heavily, Zhong's eyes turned cold and slammed a fist into the Combat Devil Lord. The terrifying God Devil flames burst forth, directly enveloping the rest of the Combat Devil Lord in flames. Currently, the Combat Devil Lord was heavily injured from the golden arrow, and his resistance was at its weakest. As he screamed out in misery, he quickly turned into a pile of ash, leaving behind of a Type 9 nucleus. At the point of his death, a thick and abundant life force, containing a strand of indestructible soul force entered Zhong's body. In Zhong's consciousness, there was a loud explosion as though something had broken, and he stepped into the peak Type 9 realm. His nascent soul seemed to grow bigger as well, floating in his consciousness. "No. Damn human. Kill him." Seeing how the Combat Devil Lord had been turned to ash, the remaining 7 Devil Lords were all red-eyed as they screamed out in fury and charged towards Zhong. The 8 Devil Lords had their own conflicts within the great god world and would fight among themselves. However, in the Tower of Babel they were the only trusted partners. Now that Zhong had killed one of them, they were naturally full of rage. "Haha. I've just broken through another small tier, and am in need of some opponents. Your timing is right. You can become stepping stones for me." Zhong eyed the remaining 7 Devil Lords, laughing coldly as he executed his shadow clone technique, as numerous Zhongs appeared, and soared towards the 7 Devil Lords. Right now, his clones were no longer those weak copies that would dissipate after a single hit. In order to deal with them, the 7 Devil Lords had to exert some strength. "Bunch of trash. Break for me." The Bullhead Evil Devil Lord urged his huge devil battle-axe to slice down, slamming towards the numerous copies of Zhong. Under the frightful image of the devil battle-axe, many of the clones vanished. "What a pity you're too late." At that instant, Zhong appeared in front of that Bullhead Evil Devil Lord and sent a fist covered with the flames of desolation at the head of the Bullhead Evil Devil Lord. With a loud explosion, Zhong's fist slammed into the body of the devil, and the God Devil flame was more than 4 times stronger than before, instantly incinerating the Bullhead Evil Devil Lord, including his soul, leaving nothing behind. Seeing that instant kill, the remaining 6 Devil Lords were all shocked and felt despair for the first time. Chapter 1200, River of Golden Blood. Jeffrey saw how Zhong slaughtered the Bullhead Evil Devil Lord with a single fist, and his eyes almost popped out. How is this possible? His evolving speed is simply too quick. He was just an ordinary Type 9 expert just recently, how could he improve so fast? Not too long ago, Jeffrey was still able to suppress Zhong completely, forcing him to flee. However, in just a few days, Zhong already become even stronger than the Bullhead Evil Devil Lord, whose prowess was way above Jeffrey. He was simply overwhelmed by this sort of monstrous existence. All of a sudden, the face of the charming Devil Lord changed as she screamed, "He's an oracle! He's an oracle!" Hearing those words, other than the humans, most of the half-step true god experts of the various races were shocked. An oracle would possess the god-devil imprint, and receive the favor of the heavens, allowing them to absorb life force and evolve quickly. To most of the races, an oracle would be the most delicious prey but also the most dangerous threat. If they could swallow a weak one, then they could easily evolve to the next realm. However, they could also become the stepping stones for the oracle to evolve. All sorts of gazes filled with animosity, greed, and envy fell upon Zhong. Many experts even began to channel their energy and chi, dodging the attacks from below, while planning their moves against Zhong. Heavenly Lord Lei Huang stared at Zhong with a complicated gaze. This secret is finally out of the bag. Zhong's evolution speed was incredibly fast, surpassing the expectations of the Heavenly Lords. Currently Zhong was even stronger than Lei Huang himself, and the Heavenly Lord could not help but be jealous. Bulai also had a complicated gaze as he sighed. It's already good enough that this was hidden for so long. Now it will be a critical moment for him. If he can get through this, he will definitely be the true god of our human race, otherwise he would perish and become food for others to evolve. Bulai was also filled with envy and jealousy towards Zhong's speed of improvement. However, he knew that if Zhong could truly become a true god expert, then there would be no one who could be his match among the 800 worlds. Zhong would then become the true god of the holy heavens, wielding great authority. Yen Tian suddenly asked, "Should we help him then?" Lei Huang swept those experts a look and chuckled bitterly, "It's useless. He's now everybody's target. Once we go over, we would just suffer and die at the hands of these mad fools." Currently, within the 4th level, the eyes of the various species and races were all bloodshot. Zhong was like a huge tonic for them and was the most threatening existence to their own race. If they could kill Zhong, the benefits would be immeasurable. Some of the half-step true gods even stared at the other human experts with undisguised animosity. The moment the humans tried anything, they would attack. The charming Devil Lord screamed out loud, "Everyone attack! Kill him! He's a mature oracle, whoever gets to devour him would obtain all that he has." The chances of reaching the true god stage would also increase multi-folds. "Want to kill me? Then you can die first." Zhong's gaze turned cold and he extended the white wings he obtained from the 3rd level, and with a bright holy radiance, he appeared in front of the charming Devil Lord, a fist covered with the flames of desolation punching out at her. "No. Don't kill me. I can be your slave." There was a look of fear and despair in her eyes, as she immediately channeled her innate art, putting on a pitiful expression as she pleaded, "Die." Zhong did not have any intention to be chivalrous. Instead, his fist slammed through all of her defenses, causing the devastating flames to incinerate her at one go, leaving nothing except a pitch-black mirror behind. "Mayor! Bastard! You dare kill my beloved Mayor! I will tear you apart! Beast! Damn beast! I will cook you alive!" The 5 remaining Devil Lords burst forth in their anguish and fury, charging at Zhong. The charming Devil Lord had attracted all 5 of these Devil Lords, thus when she was killed, they were naturally enraged. "Haha! A bunch of fellows looking to die. Become my nourishment." The cold glint in Zhong's eyes intensified as he roared out with laughter, and the white wings on his back flapped. He charged through the 5 devils and blasted out with his fists and flames of desolation. The holy light wings that he obtained were considered a speed-type gold-grade treasure. With his current peak Type 9 strength, he was even faster than a few weaker true gods. The 5 Devil Lords were unable to catch his movements, and in a blink, 3 of them were annihilated by Zhong, turning into dust. The remaining Shadow Devil Lord and Silk Devil Lord Jeffrey saw that things were not good, and had already urged their treasures and their potential to the best they could to flee. Within the Black Devil Silk, Jeffrey's terrified voice rang out, "Everyone! Attack together. If we can't kill him, we would become his food. Everybody let's go. We cannot let this human evolve any further. Kill him. Devour everything of his." Seeing how Zhong was able to kill 3 half-step true gods without any resistance and could absorb their life force, the rest of the experts could not wait any longer. A huge golden train charged out from the ground, bringing with it hot, billowing steam and golden tracks, intending to slam into Zhong. The moment that train appeared, the tracks seemed to be fixed on Zhong, and before the train had reached, nothing could change its trajectory, until it could hit Zhong. One expert in black clothes caused Dark Chi to surround himself, like a huge black box shot out, emitting powerful spatial fluctuations as they formed a seal around Zhong. A beauty in red-blue once on her golden conch, causing a terrifying sound wave to blast out at Zhong. Numerous experts acted out, exhibiting their abilities and attacking Zhong. Such a huge bunch of half-step true gods acting together, even a true god expert would not be able to handle it easily. Facing that sort of assault, Zhong laughed coldly, his holy light wings flapped, and he charged straight into the river of golden blood. the attacks of those powerhouses also slammed into the river. As the river was made out of the blood essence of countless fallen true gods, it contained incredible might and powerful laws. No matter how the attack struck the surface, the river would consume it all, igniting some parts of the river. Damn you! Let's go to hell. A roar of rage sounded out as numerous golden arrows shot towards the experts in the skies, piercing another 4 Type 9 powerhouses. The 4 of them screamed out in misery and fell into the river. As they fell into the river, they were instantly sucked dry and became 4 emaciated corpses. One half-step true god expert roared in rage, "Destroy this river! Only by doing it we can go to the next level." There was only this river of golden blood, as well as the dense clumps of god blood lotuses. The Type 9 powerhouses knew clearly that they had to destroy this river to proceed. The experts began to channel their attacks, containing laws and principles as they slammed into the river, causing some parts to sizzle and turn into vapor. If it were an ordinary river, any one of those attacks could have easily destroyed the entire river. However, as this river was formed from the blood of countless true gods, they could only chip away at it slowly. Only those with flame-based abilities had the advantage of burning through the blood slightly faster. Under their joint attacks, the blood began to boil, and the number of golden arrows was starting to decrease, both in strength and numbers. "Damn bastards, the great Kamek is enraged. You shall all die." There were roars of rage sounding from within the river of blood. Just then the water began to churn, and numerous corpses charged out from within, pouncing at the Type 9 powerhouses in the skies. They all had the insane speed of the high Type 9 realm, and it was such a dense horde of corpses assaulting the experts in the air. Although many of them were destroyed by the half-step true gods while flying halfway, many others managed to reach in front of those powerhouses and tore the weaker beings apart, throwing their corpses into the river of blood. The corpses and the experts of the races began to slaughter each other in a cruel fashion. On the other side, when Zhong dropped into the river, there was a terrifying suction force from within, pulling him to the depths of the river. Chapter 1201, Sacred Temple of Laws. The evil energy all around burrowed into Zhong's body, attempting to suck him dry as well. However, they were all dispelled by the golden battle armor on him. After rising to the peak Type 9 realm, Zhong's combat strength and sense had increased greatly, reaching that of a true god. As an invincible and perfect being, a true god expert could use the same amount of strength to defeat a half-step true god. One of the main reasons was that of the god-type combat sense, allowing the powerhouse to make the most accurate response. Although Zhong's combat sense had not reached that of a true god expert, he was already able to discern that the river of golden blood could not break through his golden battle armor. The blood is that of true gods. I can make use of the strength within to cultivate my blood manipulation ability. With a thought, Zhong executed the technique, and the blood radiance came out, entering the river. Immediately, the river trembled and a surge of evil intent blasted out, immediately disintegrating the blood radiance. The long river of golden blood had been formed through countless true gods and had become a strange existence itself. Its strength was even above some true god expert. However, it did not possess an indestructible true god soul, nor the perfect combat sense, and did not grasp laws or principles perfectly. That was why it could not wipe out the powerhouses above in a single move. Even so, it was not something so easily absorbed by Zhong. Seems like the blood manipulation is still some ways off. However, with this much blood, it is truly a treasure trove. I can use my flames to refine them and retrieve the purest power. With a thought, his near-true god combat sense immediately gave him the solution. The god-devil physique and the near-perfect combat sense were just a few of the gifts of being an oracle, which could easily strike fear in experts of the 800 worlds. An oracle with the god-devil imprint would meet the hostility and animosity of various experts, having to deal with their attacks, attempts to devour them, and it was tough to grow and mature. However, if one was able to surpass all this, then the oracle would become a heaven-defying existence. Because of this, all the experts of the various race would want to attack Zhong the moment they found out. Zhong became calm and grabbed a handful of blood and starting to burn it. In the process, the strand of will and insidious energy within were immolated away, forming a pure white divine energy, entering his body. Such a method of refining the true god's energy was imprinted within Zhong's consciousness, a sort of precious method not everyone knew. After he absorbed that amount of blood, numerous golden axes and swords were formed within the blood, slicing at Zhong. Zhong sat within the river of golden blood, allowing those attacks to slam into his armor, not harming him in the slightest. Instead, he used them to train his physique, causing it to become even stronger. No matter what form the river took, it was unable to tear through the armor on Zhong. A number of high-type 9 corpses also swam out, launching attacks on Zhong, but to no avail. The golden battle armor was truly one of the strongest defense-related treasures. In order to break through it, it would take a true god to act or a similar grade treasure. Right at this moment, there was an unfathomable intent that transmitted over, "Human, the great Shui Man is willing to join forces with you and wipe out those damned races. Please stop destroying my body. They are our common enemy, let's work together to eliminate them." When Zhong heard those words, he stopped refining the river. After all, he had the same killing intent towards those damned foreign races. Zhong replied, "Hand me all the god blood lotuses on you. I will work with you to wipe out that trash." The will within the river replied swiftly, "Fine." This strange existence Shui Man that was formed from the blood essence of the true gods did not lack strength. After all, its body was the blood of true gods, containing boundless strength. The god blood lotuses were items that it could do without, thus, it had no qualms gifting them to Zhong. Soon there was a pile of god blood lotuses in front of Zhong. He did not hesitate, sweeping them into his universe ring, and the same time he grabbed a handful to stuff into his mouth. The moment he swallowed them, they turned into a powerful and cooling divine strength, nourishing his body and soul, enhancing him once again. In his joy, he continued to consume another stalk. However, this time the effects were muted. He could only sense a cooling sensation, but there was not much change to his strength. Zhong looked at the pile of god blood lotus and sighed, "What a pity, these items are getting less effective for me." Towards the later stages of evolution, these precious resources would become decreasingly effective the more they were used. Due to this, Zhong's god devil imprint was extremely valuable. As long as Zhong absorbed enough life force, he could break through bottlenecks with no problems. Such a heaven-defying talent was naturally the target of envy and jealousy. Zhong thought for a while before asking, "Shui Man, if I help you get rid of those people, are you able to open the entrance to the 5th level for me?" Shui Man asked, "What's that? Is it this?" As he spoke, there was a bright light, and a pure white door opened out of thin air. "It's open. It's actually open? Go." Seeing the gate opened, every single powerhouse was taken aback, before charging straight for the entrance with joy. No one was willing to stay behind and get involved with the river. Zhong was also shocked, before his silhouette flickered and dashed out of the river of golden blood, entering the space. "They've all left. Bunch of fools that are seeking death. At least, I managed to sift out a decent number here, it should be enough." Seeing everyone disappear, the voice from the river resounded solemnly. The moment Zhong entered the 5th level, he saw numerous floating crystal prisms, each of them engraved with laws and secret techniques. In front of one prism, Jeffrey had one hand on it while muttering in a trance, "So it was like that. The principle of silk can still evolve. Unbelievable. I was truly a frog in a well, no wonder I could not break through to the true god stage." Other than Jeffrey, many other experts were also frantically finding a crystal prism for their own, absorbing the knowledge greedily, every single one of them in a trance-like state as their bodies emitted powerful fluctuations. Zhong looked at those engrossed in comprehension and his killing intent billowed. If he took the chance to act now, he could definitely eliminate many Type 9 powerhouses. However, the moment his killing intent soared, there was a message in his mind: "This is the sacred temple of laws, no one is to kill here, offenders will be wiped out." Zhong took a deep breath and swiftly went in front of a fire-based crystal pillar, reaching out to touch it. The moment his hand came in contact with the crystal pillar, he felt a rush of insight into fire directly swarming his consciousness, increasing his understanding of it. As he absorbed the knowledge, he soon had a similar trance-like expression. "So this was the case, I was truly ignorant about the Tao of fire. This is the true crux of it." While everyone was comprehending the laws, a pure atmospheric energy permeated the area, entering everyone, strengthening them continuously. At the same time, there was a strange clock that appeared within this sacred temple, the time needle continuously moving. "It's done. I've comprehended the crux of the Tao of fire, I can now refine that damn soul imprint of that true God." After a long period that no one knew how long they had cultivated for, Zhong suddenly opened his eyes, and he reached out into his consciousness, congealing an avatar shrouded in flames. The indestructible soul imprint encaged within his consciousness also revealed himself. The soul imprint took a look at Zhong and was thoroughly shocked, stammering, "Peak Type 9? How did you evolve so fast? How did you become a Peak Type 9 powerhouse? How could you be so fast? You will become my stepping stone." Zhong's eyes narrowed coldly, and he immediately reached out with a fiery palm towards the true god soul imprint, grabbing him viciously. As the flames danced, the soul imprint began to burn away in the midst of screams. Chapter 1202, Invincible. After dealing with that soul imprint, the immense and pure soul force was directly absorbed by Zhong, finally allowing him to break through once more. His understanding of the indestructible realm of the soul increased, and he finally reached the half-step true god realm. When he stepped into the realm, an intense amount of energy gushed into his body frantically, as though a huge whirlpool was formed, pushing his strength higher and higher. The time in the sacred temple of laws has ended. The entrance to the 6th level is now open. At this time, a voice resounded within everyone's minds, and the crystal pillars no longer provided any insight into the laws. A pure white spatial door opened up, appearing in thin air. Zhong's eyes flashed open, and he immediately charged through the entrance. The rest of the experts began to open their eyes as well, their bodies flying towards the entrance to the 6th level. After a bright flash of light, Zhong appeared in a grand, white hall. Lights continued to flash as the numerous Type 9 experts also appeared, looking around warily. "Kill the Oracle." The moment Jeffrey appeared in the hall, he roared out with rage, waving his hands to send numerous black devil silk out at Zhong. This time, the might of his silk had increased by more than 3 times. There was the chugging of the golden train, that aimed right for Zhong, intending to slam into him viciously. A 60 m tall scarlet mantis ghost opened its huge mouth, firing a scarlet beam at Zhong. In just a blink of an eye, over a dozen experts had already channeled their attacks towards Zhong. Courting death. There was a killing intent in his eyes as the holy light wings flapped, and he shot towards Jeffrey in a flash, his fist punching towards the devil mercilessly. Black Devil Cocoon. Jeffrey's face fell and his body began to break apart into countless lines, reforming into a huge cocoon. The Black Devil Cocoon was the strongest technique of Jeffrey's, and it could withstand all sorts of attacks. Even if 5 half-step true gods were to surround him, he could hold out for a few minutes. Zhong's palm struck the huge Black Devil Cocoon, as the flames blazed all around, burning through and directly striking Jeffrey. With a loud blast, Jeffrey's body was blasted into different pieces, his blood spraying everywhere, while his body parts were incinerated by Zhong's god devil flames. Even the indestructible soul was burned away, as the powerful life force entered Zhong's body. After killing Jeffrey in an instant, the golden train struck Zhong viciously. It was a gold-grade treasure and incredibly resilient. It was able to smash a half-step true god into pieces as well. Once it locked onto a target, unless the owner released it, otherwise the train would chase all the way till the ends of the world to strike its enemy. Break for me. Facing the incoming golden train, there was a cold glint in Zhong's eyes, and the atmospheric energy surged, slamming into the train. With a loud blast, the golden train that was billowing with steam and shrouded in laws was actually dented in by Zhong's fist, before it was sent flying away. Impossible. That's a golden train. How could it be knocked away by a person? He's just a half-step true god, how could he do this? Seeing Zhong's fist slamming the train away, there was a look of shock in the eyes of all the experts present. The golden train had been renowned over a few worlds and had killed a number of half-step true god experts under the control of its owner. Only other gold-grade treasures could withstand it. Yet, Zhong had sent it flying, and it was evident that his strength had already surpassed that of those legendary true god powerhouses. After sending the golden train away, Zhong's cosmic finger came smashing down towards the group of experts. As the image of the cosmos came down, it contained laws and truths of the universe, suppressing the attacks of many of the half-step true gods, directly dispersing them, before the cosmic finger itself also dissipated. Save me. I don't want to die. At the moment when the cosmos disintegrated, Zhong had appeared in front of a half-step true god who was wielding a golden combat blade, directly punching out at him. Immediately, the powerhouse was blasted apart, and the terrifying god-devil flames seared out to incinerate everything, while the expert only had time to let out that one last scream. With that, Zhong's holy light wings then flapped and he disappeared from the senses of the experts. The next instant he had appeared beside a half-step true god, punching out once more and incinerating the corpse. Since Zhong reached the half-step true god realm, his god-devil physique was incredibly powerful. A single fist was enough to break apart other same-realm powerhouses. With his god-devil flames taking care of the aftermath, even the souls were not let off as everything burned. Zhong then reappeared behind the Shadow Devil Lord, grabbing out at him and channeling his god-devil flames, which shrouded the entire body of the Shadow Devil Lord, burning him away. Under the constant flames, the Shadow Devil Lord let out a miserable scream, "No! Don't kill me. I'm willing to submit and work for you. I'm willing to give you all the treasures that I've accumulated. Please, don't kill me. I'm just short of a step from the true god realm." Zhong's eyes flashed coldly and his god-devil flames burst forth mercilessly. "It's useless. Turn to ash." The Shadow Devil Lord was a powerful ruler-class character, and even the puppet runes would not be able to do anything to them. Thus, Zhong could not control nor subdue them. The only way was to eliminate them. I'm not willing. I'm not willing." In the golden flames, the Shadow Devil Lord continued to scream out in agony, before turning into ashes. After he killed the Shadow Devil Lord, Zhong then flickered through the crowd like a specter, while reaping the lives of the powerhouses as though he was the Death Reaper himself. Each time he punched out, an expert would die and be incinerated. Lei Huang stared at the speed Zhong was slaughtering the experts, and his eyes flashed with one part joy, one part envy. Strong. Yen Tian's expression also changed, his heart filled with thankfulness. His improvement is really too fast. Fortunately, we did not do anything to him, otherwise, we would have become his targets. Bu Lai was also filled with the same sentiments. Yes, that's right. Now, once we can return to the outside world, our human race will become the strongest race. Holy Lord Yuhua saw how Zhong slaughtered those foreign experts as easily as killing chickens and was filled with shock. Terrifying. An oracle is truly a freakish existence. To think he evolved so quickly. Thankfully I did not offend him, otherwise he could just slap me to death. Stop. At this time, there was a roar of rage from the skies, and a terrifying pressure bore down on everybody. True God expert. Zhong could sense the vastness of that energy fluctuations, and with a flash he shot out from the group of experts, floating in midair as he looked towards the direction where the voice came from. He immediately caught sight of 3 experts of unknown origins, emitting terrifying auras. From each of them, Zhong could sense that they were all at least even stronger than the absolute peak of the half-step true god realm. The leader had a face full of scars and a thick beard, emitting the pressure of a true god warrior. Die human. One half-step true god expert below, with the head of a dragon and body of a man, with mantis blades for arms, charged towards Zhong with bloodshot eyes, intending to slash at him. He was already beyond rationality and was only focused on killing Zhong. Stupid trash. You dare disobey my orders. Die. The human expert frowned and pointed out, as a terrifying beam shot out, blasting the head of the half-step true god half-dragon, half-man. His head burst apart, and the headless corpse fell to the ground with no further signs of life. Zhong watched the dragon man die, his pupils narrowing. Strong. This attack of the newcomer had thoroughly dispersed the soul of the dragon man. Even though his body was still present, his soul had already been extinguished. Such a terrifying method, even Zhong was not capable of it. Chapter 1203, Tentacular Beast. At this place where all the peak experts of the various worlds were gathered, when they all saw the methods of that human expert, their faces fell and were filled with fear and wariness. A true god expert was practically invincible, with an indestructible soul, and compared to ordinary half-step true god warriors, it was like a moon compared to fireflies. There was simply too wide a gap. One true god was enough to wipe out all the people within. The human true god expert swept them all a cold gaze. I'm Harlem, a Type 10 powerhouse. All you crows, from now on you are my troops. If you don't want to die, pick up your weapons and prepare for battle. Come with me. Hearing those words, everyone had a terrible expression as they felt a bad premonition. one of the half-step true gods, a being with a dino head, covered in black scales and sharp blades on his limbs, asked with respect, "Sir Harlem, may I ask where is this place?" "A bunch of fools that are trying to escape the cage. This is the 6th level of the Tower of Babel and it is the last level. Can be said that you guys can go out now. However, this is not some saint land or heaven. In fact, it is a huge battlefield. In order to live, you have to fight on and kill your enemies." Harlem stared at the powerhouses with a look of ridicule. He had also been someone who had believed in the Tower of Babel, thus killing his way over. Who would have thought that by the time he passed through, he had arrived at a hell-like, cruel world? Suddenly, his brows furrowed as he turned around and spoke, "They're coming, make your preparations now. Fight to live. Don't die." On the huge field, all of the powerhouses swept out their divine senses, and immediately discovered a bunch of monsters charging towards them, emitting a terrifying aura. Some of them soared to the skies and looked out at the distance. All around them there were many strange monsters of about 5 m in length, their bodies covered in a black husk, with 8 tentacles around, moving like they were spiders. At various places on their bodies there were spikes and their numbers were terrifying. Harlem, who had gotten to the ground, looked up at the experts who had flown to the sky, and shook his head as he sighed, "Bunch of idiots." At that instant, those strange monsters opened their mandibles, filled with countless sharp blades, and fired out blue beams at the skies. Immediately, 6 of the half-step true god experts were struck, 2 of them losing their heads instantly, 1 had his heart burst, and the remaining 3 were struck someplace else. The 2 experts who had their heads blasted apart directly fell to the ground, devoid of signs of life. As for the one who was struck in the heart, he fell as well, his countenance pale as he spat out blood. As for the remaining 3 who had been struck elsewhere, they shouted out in shock, "What's going on? How come my body isn't healing? What's going on?" The body of a half-step true god was powerful, capable of regenerating even when they had their heads removed. This was the basis of their confidence and unbridled behavior. However, they had suddenly lost 2 powerhouses instantly, while the rest were unable to heal. It caused the rest to feel a tinge of fear. These monsters are called tentacular beasts. They are the monsters produced by this planet. They are capable of firing out light that could destroy laws called god-slaying beams. Those who are struck by those god-slaying beams, even if they were true gods, would require at least 2 or 3 days to recover fully. You guys are just half-step true god experts. The moment you're struck, there's no way to recover. Follow me, we'll break out, and when we reach the base we will find some way to heal you guys. Follow close, I won't stay to wait for any of you. Harlem swept a gaze before turning around, and immediately began to leap and move like an agile monkey, not daring to fly into the sky. The other 2 experts who had come with Harlem also followed, swiftly fleeing towards the distance. The experts on the field all exchanged looks and quickly followed. An expert who had a round body and 6 limbs, who hailed from the Taga race, laughed coldly in his heart, "Humph, fools, our Taga race can communicate with any being and turn them into our friends. Even plants can be made into our friends." With a thought, the Taga race expert radiated brightly, and sent out his will towards those tentacular beasts. "How do you do? I'm Tashi from the Taga race. I have no ill intentions. I would like to become friends." Feeling the will of the Taga race expert, the tentacular beasts increased their speed, turning into flashes of light as they pounced towards him. "No. I'm a friend." The Taga race expert could feel the killing intent radiating from those tentacular beasts, and sent out his own tentacles to slap out at the tentacular beasts, trying to retract his will and sever the connections. The eyes of the tentacular beast shone viciously as they pounced and opened their jaws, biting on the Taga race expert, immediately tearing him apart. A few more also pounced over and began to devour him. Tashi is finished. Damn it, looks like those beasts cannot be communicated with. Many experts had some bonds with the expert from the Taga race and knew how strong their ability to converse with other species was. Now that Tashi was killed, this meant that those beasts could not be reasoned with, and if they went over they would definitely die. All of a sudden Harlem cussed, "Damn it, we're surrounded. This time's mission of receiving these newcomers is truly not nice to deal with. You guys prepare, we're going to break through." Zhong swept out with his perception and instantly saw a huge horde of those tentacular beasts crawling towards them, already encircling the group. "I'll bust a route out for everyone." At this time the expert who was seated in the golden train spoke out. In an instant the golden train charged out with billowing speed, smashing into those tentacular beasts. The resilient gold-grade treasure was able to cause the tentacular beast that it crashed into to be blasted into pieces, as fresh blue blood flowed. Harlem roared out at that time, charging towards the tentacular beasts. "Decent treasure. Everyone attack. Otherwise we will die." Harlem wielded a huge golden combat blade that had a 20 long blade radiance. Each time he slashed out, a tentacular beast would be sliced in two. "Why so troublesome, watch me?" One icy demoness spoke softly, her eyes gleaming with an iciness as she blew out at those tentacular beasts. Her breath carried laws and principles of ice, assailing the tentacular beasts. Harlem's face fell as he roared out, "Do not use any law-based attacks. These beasts can devour all energy, principle, and laws. Do not even activate your domains. They can continue to feed and grow off your domains. They can also consume spatial laws, so spatial attacks are useless." At this moment, the incoming tentacular beasts opened their sharp mandibles and sucked in, immediately taking in the ice-powered attacks. When they absorbed the attacks, 3 of them immediately grew large and spat back out the icy powers at a Type 9 powerhouse, who was instantly turned into chunks of ice and broke apart. Seeing this, everyone felt their hearts turn cold. When at the Type 9 realm, half-step true god characters could rely on their spatial powers and wills to attack. In terms of close combat, they were also much stronger than Type 8 experts. However, against these cruel and vicious tentacular beasts, they could not help but enter the fray and engaged in close combat. The tentacular beasts were vicious, that most of the Type 9 powerhouses were feeling fear. Some of them were almost taken out immediately when they charged close enough. Each expert that came in contact with those tentacles would burst apart, before being absorbed by those beasts, consumed in front of everyone else. No. Holy Lord Yin He, who had teamed up with Yu Hua, had an expression of despair as he screamed out. 3 tentacular beasts pounced towards him, their tentacles smashing into his body, and directly blasting his body apart, before consuming his flesh. Chapter 1204, Fort of Hope. With Yin He's death, Yu Hua's small group only had herself, Tiando, and Bing Feng. Holy Lord Wu Yin had already fallen at the 3rd level, while Yu Zhong had begun to move on his own, thus the overall strength of this group had diminished greatly. Damn beast. Bing Feng stared at the tentacular beasts and cursed through gritted teeth. Without any law-based attacks, many of the Type 9 powerhouses were not comfortable. After all, they had lived for thousands of years, and to kill their enemies, they just had to point out and use the atmospheric energy to crush them into minced meat. They had neglected their close combat skills for a long time. "I'll kill you." Bing Feng flashed out, wielding a 10 long ice blade, slashing down at one of the tentacular beasts. When the blade came slicing down on the armor, it caused a loud dang, and a 13 cm deep gash was seen. His ice blade also broke apart. The body of the tentacular beast shuddered, its 8 tentacles slapping towards Bing Feng Holy Lord. As for Bing Feng, the moment his strike failed, he had immediately retreated backward, dodging that dangerous strike. After dodging that attack, Bing Feng had a look of shock as he stared at it. "That defense is too freaking strong. I can't kill it in a single strike. Damn it, it's supposed to be an ordinary monster." Bing Feng was also after all a powerful character and had killed his fair share of monsters. It was the first time he had seen something with such an obscene defense as the tentacular beast. He finally understood why the true god Harlem would be so cautious of them. It was because they were simply too tough to deal with. Be careful. While Bing Feng was collecting his thoughts, there was a sudden burst of blue light from the horde, striking Bing Feng cleanly on the forehead, blasting his head off. Yu Hua, who had just shouted out, could only stare wide-eyed as Bing Feng was then pounced on and devoured cleanly. Yu Hua used moon-related abilities, augmenting her attacks, and was well known for her techniques. However, now that she was restricted, her abilities were lacking, and could only wave her silver moon whip to hit the tentacular beasts. As her weapon continued to strike the tentacular beasts, they only served to cause loud sound, but not dealing any true damage. Suddenly, 3 tentacular beasts burst forth, charging right at her as 18 tentacles struck towards her. No. Her face fell and there was a look of despair on her face. She waved her jade-like hands, causing shields to appear, in a bid to defend against those attacks. When the tentacles struck Yu Hua's shield, they easily tore the shields apart, continuing towards her body. During her despair, a silhouette flashed past, grabbing out and blocking the 18 tentacles. Yuhua opened her eyes to look closely and exclaimed with joy, "Yu Zhong! Get up!" Yu Zhong grabbed onto the 18 tentacles, roaring with rage as he tugged forcefully, causing all three to fly off the ground and towards him. The holy light wings flapped and he shot towards them, his fists punching out at one. Instantly, that tentacular beast was blasted into many parts, blue blood flowing everywhere. After that, he could sense a powerful amount of life force being absorbed into his body, increasing his strength once more. Feeling energized, Yu Zhong shot into the group of tentacular beasts fearlessly, as he punched out one by one, directly killing those beasts. Yu Hua watched in amazement as Yu Zhong tore through the tentacular beasts like it was nothing, her heart full of shock. Strong. He's too strong. Those tentacular beasts were not easy to kill even with the Type 9 powerhouses giving their all, and yet they could not withstand a single fist from Yu Zhong. His might was apparent. Other than him, many other half-step true god experts had also pulled out their gold-grade weapons, attacking the tentacular beasts. Under the circumstances where laws and domains could not be used, only gold-grade weapons could be used to kill these tentacular beasts. As Harlem fought, he laughed out, "Ha! Not bad. Really decent. Seems like there are a few good seedlings here, we should be able to hold out for even longer." Since he was a true god expert, even if he did not turn around to see, he could still assess the surroundings while he fought. He could discern the situation of each small skirmish clearly. With the threat of death looming over them, the experts of the various races began to unleash their potential, forcefully slaughtering hundreds of those beasts that tried to block their way. When they broke out of the encirclement, the group followed Harlem and fled, finally escaping from this region of death. The group continued to flee madly. After running for over 10,000 kilometers, they finally came to a fort. Harlem gazed at the pure white fort, his eyes filled with a complicated gaze as he spoke, "This is the only safe point of gathering for us, and the only safe point in this world." The group stared at the tower, noticing that it was as high as about 100 meters, and encompassed a region of over 1,000 SQM. Each space had a cannon. One Ice Demonis asked Harlem, "Sir, didn't you say that laws and energy-based attacks were ineffective against those tentacular beasts? What's the use of so many curtains?" Everyone turned to look at Harlem. He explained, "True, our energy-based attacks have no way of hurting those tentacular beasts, only serving to strengthen them. However, those gold-grade weapons could release devastating blows and can kill those beasts. However, the reason why our powers cannot hurt them is that the concentration of our powers is not enough. As for gold-grade treasures, they are different. They are a condensation of the strength, thus, those beasts cannot suck anything from the weapons." They all nodded and swiftly came to the bottom of the fort. A number of beams shot out, falling upon them and directly transporting them into the fort. Inside there were flora and fauna with lush green trees and an artificial sun, radiating brightly upon the land, giving life. A few young men and women from various races gazed at Yu Zhong and the rest curiously. Yu Zhong swept his divine sense out and was shocked. These young people were all at the Type 7 realm above, with no shortage of Type 8 and Type 9 experts. At this time, a goat-head true devil expert with a pair of devil wings walked over. "Harlem, you're back. How's the result this time?" Harlem chuckled, "Jianghu, just SOSO, there are 80 half-step true god experts, 43 Type 9 experts. There are also 56 gold-grade treasures and no Type 10 powerhouses." The total number of experts that had entered the Tower of Babel at the start was over 8 billion, yet, those who truly reached the 6th level were only a total of 123. The rest had fallen along the way. Of the 43 alive Type 9 experts, 8 of them had been at the edge of the Type 7 and Type 8 realm. Having gone through the baptism of the tower, they had swiftly broken through to the Type 9 realm and did not take part in most of the conflicts, thus surviving till now. Jianghu frowned slightly. "No Type 10? That's going to be a problem. The tentacular beasts have begun to surround the universe tree. If we don't take care of those nests, then the Fort of Hope would lose its final energy source. We only have about 50 Type 10 experts left, how are we going to tide through this?" Yuhua suddenly asked out, "May I ask if you guys can shed some light, where is this place?" Although everyone had followed Harlem to the fort, they were still filled with doubt and uncertainty towards the 6th level and wanted to know what the situation was. Jianghu and Harlem exchanged a look and discussed through their divine senses. Jianghu then opened his mouth. "This is the 6th level of the Tower of Babel, and it happens to be a world beyond the Great God World and the 800 worlds. This planet is called the Tentacular planet, the mother planet of those beasts. Our current location is somewhere in unknown galaxy of the Westwood constellation. Chapter 1205, Jianghu. Jianghu had a solemn expression. The world we were in was a huge cage. Everything within, including you and me, are just considered lab tests for the entity called God. Us Type 10 experts might call ourselves true gods. With our indestructible godly souls, however, compared to the real God, we are weak, nothing in fact. He continued, that entity called God has the strongest gold-grade treasure, basically, the #1 godly weapon, the God-Devil system. Nothing within the 800 worlds could escape his attention. He could make use of it to create an entire race and help that race to become an intelligent species within a year. He could also wipe out an entire race in the blink of an eye. When Zhong heard this, his heart sank and he thought about all that had happened on Earth. In this short year, Earth had truly undergone shocking changes. Zombies, mutant beasts, the Sea Clan, these had all evolved within a year and had gone against the natural laws of evolution. It was truly heaven-defying. He had come across a record of an ancient true God from the books of the holy heavens. In the past, there were many true God experts in holy heavens, and they were all invincible, possessing power that could flip entire worlds. However, none of them could possibly grow or nurture an entire species of intelligent beings within a year. Furthermore, when he thought back to the point when it all changed, his body had been plucked out of time, and everything felt like it was silent. That sort of terrifying strength supported the theory that God even had control over time. Time was a mysterious and terrifying force. It was a law that even the ancient true God experts had no way of comprehending. In a battle between God-class experts, it could take a second for the victor to be clear. That was how terrifying the power of time was. The God-Devil system could actually pause everyone on Earth. That sort of strength was simply too terrifying. Even when Zhong reached the true God level, he would not be remotely close to that level of strength. The Tower of Babel is also another powerful treasure by that entity called God. Through it, many could evolve quickly, reaching the Type 9 realm, and transported to this tentacular planet. At the same time, the moment we walk out of the Tower of Babel, we have truly escaped from the 800 worlds. Other than an oracle, the God-Devil system has no hold over us. This place might be true freedom, but it could also be said as another cage that we've landed in. On this tentacular planet, there are too many tentacular beasts to count. What you guys have seen were just the lower-level ones. Among them, there are even the king-class tentacular beasts. There might not be many of them, but every single one of them surpasses a true God expert, and when coupled with the endless horde, we are incapable of taking them on. Jianghu continued, we have lived for over 100,000 years here, and at the peak of our strength, we had 13 Type 10 experts, over 8,000 Type 9 powerhouses. However, after fighting for so long, we are down to 5 Type 10 experts, and barely 500 Type 9 powerhouses. Hearing Jianghu's words, the faces of everyone who had just arrived turned ashen. If a true God expert were to appear in the Great God World or the rest of the 800 worlds, he or she could become the overlord and would be immortal. However, to think that 8 of such existences had fallen here in this tentacular planet. They were just Type 9 experts, at the most they were equivalent to high-quality cannon fodder. Many of them were filled with regret at this point. In the 800 worlds they were considered lords and had numerous subordinates. Yet, in order to break through, they had risked their lives to barge through the Tower of Babel. In the end, after paying such high prices, they had actually come to an even more dangerous region. It was no wonder that they were filled with endless regret. Yuhua's brows arched as she asked, Sir Jianghu, I see that this Fort of Hope is full of energy and resources. Sir Harlem had also mentioned that this is the absolute safest place. Why do we still need to head out and clash with those tentacular beasts? If we stay inside here and train to the Type 10 stage, then head out to slaughter those beasts outside, wouldn't that work? The Fort of Hope was formed from some technology, filled with abundant chi which Earth could not even compare to. The only other comparable place was the Tower of Babel itself. Since the party had just gone through the baptism of the tower, they had understood many things and obtained great rewards. If they were to hole up in this Fort of Hope for a few tens of thousands of years, they might break through to the Type 10 realm. A half-step true God expert already had an indestructible soul, and even if they were to cultivate for hundreds and thousands of years, they would not die. Their lifespans were generally over 1,000,000 years. It was because of this that among the numerous worlds, there were a few half-steps true gods who did not enter the Tower of Babel, because they could still afford to wait and did not want to risk their lives. Jianghu shook his head. Not possible. The energy source of this fort of hope comes from the single universe tree on this planet. Every once in a while the tentacular beasts would gather and nest around the tree. Once they are successful they would suck and absorb the energy from the tree, becoming stronger and evolving constantly. If we were to lose the universe tree, then this fort of hope would lose its strength and lose the ability to protect us. At that time, we would have to fight the tentacular beasts with no safe base. On this treacherous planet that's basically a death sentence. One ghost race cultivator, who had a ghostly visage and his entire body covered in scales, asked, Sir Jianghu, then, is there any way that will allow us to return to the great god world? The moment these words came out, everyone looked to Jianghu. Having seen the cruelty and harshness of the environment here, many had started to harbor thoughts of returning to the 800 worlds. Once they returned they would become peak experts in their own worlds. Jianghu smirked. Yes, according to the rumors at the peak of the universe tree, there's an entrance to the other side of the Tower of Babel. If you pass through that, you should be able to transcend space and head back to the great god world. However, here's a word of reminder. Half-step true gods as well as true gods would not be able to use that tunnel. Furthermore, those that use the tunnel would have their memories controlled by the god-devil system, and would forget everything that transpired here. Everyone exchanged looks and finally understood why in the past, each time the Tower of Babel opened, there would be a few fortunate survivors, with huge leaps in strength. However, there were no half-step true gods or true gods that returned. Jianghu laughed mildly and continued, there's an additional bad news. Once the tentacular beasts destroy the universe tree, there would be a wormhole straight to the great god world, and they can make use of it to enter the great god world as well as the rest of the 800 worlds. At that time, everything will be destroyed by them. Even if you guys escape back now, it is just prolonging the inevitable. There are about 1 billion tentacular beasts on this planet, because they lack flesh and blood, thus they can only maintain such a number. If they could consume more they would multiply quickly, reaching 5 billion within a year. Hearing this, everyone felt their scalps turn numb. Those tentacular beasts were truly terrifying. If they were to reach 5 billion, then nothing in the great god world or the 800 worlds would be their match. Yu Hua asked curiously, Sir Jianghu, may I ask where does your information come from? Jianghu did not reply, instead turning around to walk and said, Come with me. The rest could only follow him towards a palace. Inside the vast palace, there was a gold pillar with spirals going all around, and it was embedded with many palm-sized white stones, emitting a sacred and powerful aura. Jianghu looked at it with a complicated gaze. This is a branch of the god-devil system, the exchange system. We gain our knowledge from here. Jianghu turned to it and spoke indifferently, Come out, it's me, Jianghu. From within the pillar, there was a flash of golden, sacred light, turning to form a beautiful woman, with long black hair reaching her waist, her features exquisite, and her proportions following the golden ratio. She smiled gently, Mr. Jianghu, how do you do? What do you want to exchange this time? Jianghu pointed to the beauty and spoke indifferently, This is the sentient program of the god-devil system. You can think of it as a treasure spirit. With the nuclei obtained from the tentacular beasts, you can exchange all sorts of gold-grade treasures, information, and knowledge. Our information was gained through her. Chapter 1206, God-Devil System AI. The beautiful woman smiled charmingly, How do you do? I'm the spirit of the God-Devil System, or an AI, so as to speak. Master usually calls me Light. You can exchange tentacular beasts' nuclei for anything with me, including food, natural treasures, gold-grade treasures, laws and Daos information, and even cultural knowledge. Light's eyes then flashed, sending beams of black light into the consciousness of everybody present, imprinting the exchange rates on them. This is the list of exchange rates, please accept it. In a flash, Zhong understood what he could exchange. There were all sorts of items within the exchange system, with uncountable gold-grade treasures. Even the gold battle armor on Zhong could be exchanged. There were even mechs with strength surpassing Type 10 experts. However, depending on the items, the exchange value was different. A gold-grade treasure would usually cost about 100,000 nuclei and above. As for the mech that could surpass Type 10 experts, it required 1 million nuclei or a single king-class nucleus. It was truly precious. Yu Zhong eyed the God Devil system AI. His fists clenched tight as he took in a deep breath, and without hesitation he stepped up to ask, Light, why did your master make Earth go through those changes? After the apocalypse, over 1 billion people had died, and the rest had suffered terribly. Along the way, Yu Zhong had seen many tragedies, broken families, betrayals, cannibals, and all sorts of horrendous things. These were all engraved deeply in his mind. As a result, he had become a hardened tyrant and seemed stone-cold at times, but in truth, in the deepest parts of his heart, he had always been furious about the state of matters. It was anger from his conscience as a human being. Light chuckled, Please pay the price of 1 nucleus. Yu Zhong waved his hand and threw a tentacular beast nucleus at her. When battling those beasts earlier, Yu Zhong had seen Harlem picking up those nuclei, thus he took the opportunity to pick up a few as well. When the nucleus touched Light, it disappeared immediately. Light then smiled and spoke slowly but clearly, Master had ordered for the Earth to undergo changes in order to allow the life forms on it to evolve. It would create powerful soldiers and warriors. At the same time he could gain joy from seeing the growth of humans. Mr. Yu Zhong, if those things did not happen, you would not have evolved to this stage. Based on your standing at that point in time, your knowledge, character, psychology, and overall health, I can compute your fate. You would have struggled for 20 years, becoming a general manager of a company worth 1.5 million in assets, married to Lu Wen. Both of you would have a son, and you will live to the age of 76 and die. Your friends would become ordinary members of society, without the strength, status, nor power they have now. Now you're an expert at the peak of the Type 9 realm. According to the classifications of the Great God World, there is something called the half-step True God stage. You're just 1 step away from the Type 10 realm. Please continue to strive hard, you're looked upon favorably. Within this batch of survivors of the Tower of Babel, there's only Yu Zhong, Lei Huang, Balthazar, Brendan, and Radford with chances of becoming a Type 10 expert within 10,000 years. As for the rest, without fortuitous encounters, it would be impossible. Those who I have called out, please do not be arrogant. These 10,000 estimate refers to the constant battle against the tentacular beasts and exchanging the nuclei with all sorts of evolution resources. If you want to cultivate within the Fort of Hope, then even if you cultivate for 100,000 years, there's no chance of breaking through. Hearing those words from Light, everyone trembled and looked to the 5 of them who were called with gazes of envy and jealousy. As for the 5 experts, other than Yu Zhong, they revealed expressions of joy. They had fought so hard in order to become a Type 10 expert. Now there was a ray of hope, they were naturally ecstatic. Within the Great God World, even if they cultivated for 100,000 years, they would not be able to reach the True God realm. Yu Zhong suddenly asked, Light, is your master capable of wiping out all the tentacular beasts? 1 nucleus. He immediately threw 1 over. Light replied in a short and precise manner, yes. After a moment, Yu Zhong discovered that Light was not as fluent as earlier, and had a strange feeling. Yu Zhong then spoke solemnly, I want to meet your master, what are the requirements? 1 nucleus. Again he threw 1 over. There was a strange glint in her eyes as she smiled. On this planet, there are 9 tentacular king beasts and 3 tentacular queen beasts. As long as you can take them out, I can take you to meet master. After that, she sent out a beam of black light to everyone. This is the map containing information on the positions of those powerful beasts that I mentioned. Light laughed, if there are no further questions, I'll be making a move. When you have enough tentacular nuclei, you can summon me once more to conduct exchanges. She then disappeared into motes of light. When she left, there was a hint of fury in Yu Zhong's eyes. To create powerful soldiers, he could easily sacrifice 1 billion lives. Damn it, I'm still too weak. When I've evolved enough, I will make sure to teach that fucker a lesson. Yu Zhong might be at the half-step True God stage, but in front of the expert who had the God Devil system, he was still too weak. He did not know how strong the other part was, but he knew that even a Type 10 expert was nothing to that fellow. After all, there were plenty of Type 10 mechs, Type 10 mutant beasts and monsters in the exchange system. It was obvious that the owner of the God Devil system could create such powerful beings. Yu Zhong was still a weakling. Yu Zhong also only dared to show his temper after the Jianghu smiled warmly at everyone. Come, let's all go celebrate the arrival of our new members. Everyone can get to know one another. The devil race might be selfish and had their own motivations, But Jianghu had already become a Type 10 expert and protected the Fort of Hope for so many years, thus he had grown past all schemes and selfish ambitions. To him right now, surviving, evolving and becoming stronger was the only goal to chase after. With powerful allies they could all survive better. Inside the fort, the Type 9 experts numbered less than 500, but those below that realm were over 1,000,000. In a vast square, there were many crystal tables, as the hundreds of Type 9 experts sat to enjoy delicious food. Beautiful women of each race were dancing on the stage, to the sound of melodious music, as though it was heaven on earth. At the head of each table, there were 10 seats, of which the 5 great Type 10 experts, as well as the 5 half-step true gods that Light had announced to have the greatest hope of breaking through. The 5 great heads of the fort were Harlem of the human race, Jianghu of the evil devil race, Guili of the man-eater race, Zhu Hua of the beast race and Lai Yan of the stone race. Yu Zhong and Lei Huang were humans, thus they were closer to Harlem and sat near him. Yu Zhong suddenly asked, "Sir Harlem, why is that the people here are so little?" The fort had stood for millions of years and under such circumstances, it had produced all sorts of life forms and yet there were only 1,000,000 odd people. It was mysterious. Harlem put down his wine glass and sighed deeply, a sunken look in his eyes. The people here are restricted by the fort. It can only accommodate 1,110,000 people. If the inhabitants exceed this amount, us Type 10 experts would not be able to absorb the energy and would become weaker. Hence, we can only control the population. There's a rule here that if one does not become a Type 9 expert in 500 years, and is not needed by any Type 9 powerhouse, they would be abandoned. When Yu Zhong heard this, his heart shuddered. Abandoned naturally meant given up on and left for dead. After all, the heads of the fort would not allow anyone to leave the fort to become food for the tentacular beasts. It seemed that the Fort of Hope was also a cruel place. Lei Huang downed the contents of his glass and asked, "Sir Harlem, when are we moving out to deal with the nesting problem?" Harlem replied, 7 days. The nesting requires 10 days at least, and the 7th day is usually the most critical period. Most of the strength would be concentrated within the nests, and it is the moment that they were weakest. That's the only chance we have to deal with their nest. Chapter 1207, Universe Tree. After the banquet was over, Yu Zhong came up to the exchange system once more. When he arrived, there was a flash of light as light materialized and revealed a brilliant smile. "How do you do, Yu Zhong, or should I say Oracle? May I ask, what do you intend to exchange for?" Yu Zhong waved his hands, throwing 24 nuclei to her. "I want to exchange for 24 years' worth of time to cultivate, 1 hour for a year." The God Devil system was beyond any gold-grade treasure, and one of the most important reasons was that it controlled time. In the exchange system, there was the option of exchanging for cultivation time. The exchange rates were as follows: 1 hour, 1 year or 1 hour, 10 years and even more. Of course, the stronger the rate, the more nuclei required. Yu Zhong only had a few tentacular nuclei, thus he only had enough to exchange for 24 years. His speed of improvement had been fast, purely because of his God Devil imprint. However, because of his speed, he needed time to consolidate and comprehend his laws and daos. Along the way, Yu Zhong had made use of the God Devil imprint to evolve, and he could use it to reach the Type 10 realm. However, there are differences even among those in the same realm. Only by going through refining, consolidation of knowledge and information, cultivating diligently, would one become strong. When he was weak, he had always chased after strength. Now, at the peak, what he needed was knowledge and absorbing of information, truly building a solid foundation, to become a terrifying godlike being. Light pointed to a number of rooms packed neatly within the palace and said, "Understood, that is the room of time. Once you enter, it will begin. After 24 hours, it will automatically send you out." Yu Zhong walked in immediately and began to sift through all the knowledge he obtained in the Tower of Babel. As he cultivated, he sank in deep and lost track of himself. In a flash, 24 years had gone past. Outside, it had only been a day and the room of time automatically opened up to send Yu Zhong. When Yu Zhong was sent out, he opened up his eyes slowly, revealing a glint of wisdom. As he came to clarity, he exchanged for a device that could search for tentacular beasts and chose to leave the Fort of Hope, hunting those beasts. He did not head for the nests immediately, instead choosing to hunt outside the nests. He would conduct sneak attacks and retreat quickly from time to time. On this planet there were countless beasts roaming about. Only a horde or the king beasts had the ability to kill Zhong. Other than that, the rest of the weaker beasts and smaller groups served to become his prey. After hunting enough beasts, he would return to the Fort of Hope and enter the Room of Time to cultivate. 7 days passed quickly. The Room of Time that Zhong was in opened up and he walked out slowly, his gaze filled with a deep and profound look. His current understanding was more than 100 times deeper than 7 days before. At the same time, his strength had increased exponentially. Zhong, are you out? Jianghu looked at Zhong before his brows arched and there was a sharp look. Ah? You look somewhat different. Jianghu could tell that Zhong had undergone some changes. Before his closed-door cultivation, Zhong had looked like a sharp, unsheathed blade, full of killing intent and strength. However, after the 100 years within the Room of Time, Zhong had become unfathomable even to Jianghu. Harlem swept Zhong a look as well before urging, "Come on, our target are the nests, we don't have time to waste." Everyone was looking to destroy the nests, and every single minute and second was precious. Harlem could not bother about Zhong's training progress. Breaking through to the Type 10 realm from the Great Circle of the Type 9 realm was not easy, even if one cultivated for 10,000 years. Even if Zhong had improved by a small step, it would likely not affect the battle much. Soon, 5 battleships of over 10,000 m, their frames entirely in white, equipped countless E-grade cannons flew out, heading towards the nests. These 5 E-grade battleships were the true treasures left behind in this Fort of Hope from the numerous generations before. Their speed was terrifying. The moment they opened their throttles, the distance crossed was over 1,000,000 kilometers. They soon appeared about 150 kilometers away from the universe tree. Jianghu spoke solemnly, "We've reached." At that instant, the hull contorted and disappeared entirely, allowing the people within to look at the huge universe tree. It stood over 1,000 kilometers tall, reaching past the clouds as though poking straight into the galaxy. It was filled with lush green leaves. Countless green light beams shot out from the ground, flowing along with the universe tree towards the sky. It was extremely beautiful and captivating. Harlem eyed the universe tree and spoke, "This is the universe tree, the divine tree supporting the Fort of Hope. Normally, there are strong self-defense mechanisms and no living beings can get near. However, every 100 years, there would be a period of weakness. During this period, it is unable to prevent the tentacular beasts from absorbing its strength and energy. This is also your only way of heading back to the great God world." Hearing those words, many Type 9 experts became excited, eyeing the universe tree with passion. Those experts who could exit from the Tower of Babel, all of them had attained some incredible benefits. If they could return to the great God world or any of the 800 worlds, they would become peak experts, wielding incredible authority and power. If they remained here, they would just be cannon fodder. Around the universe tree, there were 3 huge holes with unknown depths and countless tentacular beasts crawling all around. Their perception was terrifying, immediately catching the scent of the 5 E-grade battleships a 100 kilometer away. Numerous tentacular beasts began to pour out of the 3 nests, pouncing towards the direction of the 5 E-grade battleships. Outside the nests, the ground rumbled as countless tentacular beasts poured, charging towards their directions. Other than them, there were even some flying types that had dragon-like wings soaring through the skies. The terrifying horde was heading over. Seeing the numbers coming at them both from land and air, everyone felt a chill in their heart. Lei Huang and the rest finally understood why there would be so many true God experts that had fallen. These tentacular beasts were not ants that could be squashed to death. Even a Type 10 expert would not be able to utilize the atmospheric energy or chi to squash them. Instead, it had to be done through melee combat. If it were in the great God world, a true God expert could wipe out everything in 1,000 kilometers radius, other than Type 9 experts. That was truly terrifying. From afar, those tentacular beasts opened their mandibles, firing blue beams towards the 5 E-grade battleships. The 5 E-grade battleships flashed and opened up their energy shields, withstanding the blue beams. At the same time, the cannons on the ships also began to fire back at the tentacular beasts. Under the barrage of attacks, many tentacular beasts were punched full of holes, and fresh blood dyed the ground. At the same time, a number of silver balls were fired out towards the horde. The moment these silver mechanical balls soared out, they extended to form silver mech beasts with 2 blades at their sides, wings on their backs and their 4 limbs powerful. The moment those silver mech beasts landed on the ground, they charged straight right for the tentacular beasts, and both sides began to engage in a vicious clash. Soon the battlefield was filled with broken parts and flesh. These silver mech beasts were all composed of the most advanced nanocells. As long as their smart chips were intact, they could fight on indefinitely. On the ground, it seemed as though the mech beasts had the advantage. However, in terms of numbers, the tentacular beasts held the advantage. From time to time, more beasts would pour out from the nests, tearing the mech beasts apart. The tentacular beasts were truly savage, consuming everything and anything. They could even digest rocks, turning them into energy to survive. It was because of this that they could survive on this cruel and harsh planet. Jianghu was solemn. They had already built 3 nests. The 9 king-class beasts and 3 queen beasts are inside. This time we have to focus our forces on one particular nest and destroy it first. Lai Yin, I'll leave the command here to you. This is our only chance to focus on the nest. Chapter 1208, Tentacular King Beast. In the face of the horde of tentacular beasts, the experts were definitely not a match for them. The best strategy was to focus all their strength on destroying a nest, only then they would have a chance for success. Lai Yin, who was over 4 m tall, his whole body forged from crystal fire jade, nodded, "All right, leave it to me." Quickly, all the Type 9 experts equipped their gold-grade armor and weapons and followed the 4 true god experts out of the battleship. Over the countless years, the Fort of Hope had accumulated many gold-grade weapons and equipment. Although in the course of battles many of them were damaged, they were still of the gold grade, thus they were naturally stronger than most of the other equipment that the Type 9 experts had. At that moment, the 5 E-grade battleships focused their fire and shot out at one nest. Those cannons were capable of injuring a true god expert seriously, or even killing one, thus the tentacular beasts could not withstand those beams. Under the assault of those 5 beams, everywhere the beam touched was vaporized, and over 1 million tentacular beasts were wiped out in an instant. When the 5 beams slammed into the nest, it blasted apart as countless flesh and blood splattered out of it. A clear tunnel was carved out from that beam, as though a huge trench had been dug out, revealing the massive nest within. The dense horde of aerial tentacular beasts in the air was also vaporized during the beam, revealing a patch of sky. Zhong looked at the devastation caused and was filled with shock. Those cannons are truly powerful. If it was used on Earth, I'm afraid there would be nothing left of Earth. The density of this tentacular planet was easily more than 100 times that of Earth, thus its gravity was also more than 100 times. The cannons of the 5 battleships had been focused and was enough to cause a 100 m deep tear in the ground. The beam had even pierced through the first nest, causing a deep hole. If it was used on Earth, it would likely penetrate through. Jianghu hollered once and turned into a flash towards the nest. Charge! Currently, it was the best to storm the first nest, as those tentacular beasts in the way had been eliminated. Otherwise, even a true god expert would find it tough to trudge through the horde. All the experts flashed and headed towards the first nest. They were clear that time was not on their side. The might of the 5 E-grade battleships was powerful, able to blast through an ordinary planet. However, the cooldown time period was long, requiring at least 24 hours before they could fire again. The tentacular beasts could feel the threat and quickly charged towards Jianghu and the rest. As they scrambled over towards the first nest, many of them opened their mandibles and fired out blue beams of light at the experts. The number of tentacular beasts was simply too high, their blue beams almost like rain, leaving them no room to dodge or evade. Many of them were struck in their bodies, but under the protection of their gold-grade armor, they were forced one side. The stronger experts immediately stood up and continued to charge towards the nest. The weaker ones, or those who were unfortunate, were bombarded by the numerous blue beams, and their defensive equipment was torn through, before finally collapsing and the owners ripped apart, dying in a miserable fashion. Seeing the weaker experts being torn apart by the blue beams, many of the rest felt their hearts turn cold, and their expressions of despair. Most of them were equipped with rare and powerful defensive equipment, but it was still hard to withstand those blue beams. They were talented experts out there as well. However, under the circumstances, they were reminded of their weaker days where they had to struggle and fight for survival. After paying the price of a dozen experts, Jianghu managed to lead the rest into the first nest. Inside, there were many tentacular beasts' corpses, their blood and dismembered limbs splattered all over the nest. Oh right, the nuclei inside the brains are all treasures. Zhong looked at the corpse and with a thought, he waved his hands, causing their copperses to fly into his universe ring. The heads of these tentacular beasts were incredibly tough. If Zhong wanted to break through them, it would take some strength and time. Under the current circumstances, he could not afford to waste either. Seeing Zhong keep the heads, the rest also quickly scrambled to collect the heads as well. Since all Type 9 powerhouses had some comprehension into spatial laws, they could make use of spatial crystals to form spatial treasures. Unfortunately, their treasures could not compare to Zhong's universe ring. Make your preparations. As they charged in for some distance, Jianghu gazed deep into the first nests, and he just uttered that sentence when his face changed and he barked, "Careful! It's a king-class beast." At this time there was a powerful energy fluctuation, as two thick and coarse blue beams shot out from below, slamming into the group. In an instant, 13 of the experts were vaporized, together with their equipment. The defense of the gold-grade armors was shocking, however they also had an upper limit. Obviously, the power of those beams had exceeded the threshold. Seeing this, the rest of the experts felt their scalps go numb. They had finally seen the terror of a king-class beast. It was something not weaker than a true god expert. Chiang's eyes lit up as he roared out and charged, while the rest of the true gods soared deeper in. "Two beams, good chance. One of them is injured, this is the best opportunity we have. Everyone attack with all your might." Everyone was already forced against the wall, hence they could only grit their teeth and charged further on. They were all peak experts, and in a breath they had already reached deeper. Deep inside the nest there was a queen-class beast with a pair of sharp claws, its body length over 10 kilometers, while 3 other king-class beasts stood in front of it, each of them 50 m in size with a blue crystal armor. They had dragon-like wings, 6 powerful legs and 8 tentacles, their entire bodies covered in sharp spikes. Currently, one of the king-class beasts had its lower body blasted apart, and it was struggling frantically. The numerous tentacles of the queen-class beast were stuck in the body of the king-class beast, nourishing it and hastening its recovery. With the nourishment, the wounds of the king-class beast was healing at a rapid rate, visible to the naked eye. Inside the nest, other than these 4 great beasts, there were over tens of thousands of tentacular beasts. They were larger than ordinary tentacular beasts, and the moment they saw the experts arriving, they began to attack. "Quick! We have to act quickly to wipe them out. Otherwise, when that king-class beast recovers, we will be in trouble." Jianghu pulled out a pitch-black statue that was exuding a thick, dark energy. It had 9 demonic dragons engraved on it, and he slashed out on his own body, causing some blood to flow into the gold-grade treasure. Immediately it lit up, and 9 demonic dragons containing the strength of the Type 10 realm, flapped their wings and soared out of the statue, pouncing towards one of the king-class beast. The tentacular king-class beast was vicious, evading and charging towards one of the demonic dragons, retaliating with its blades and managed to tear through its body. The moment the demonic dragon was torn apart, it could not reform. Instead, the remnant energy flowed into the bodies of the 8 other dragons, causing them to evolve into stronger beings. At the same time, the tentacles of the king-class beast shot out like projectiles towards the remaining 8 demonic dragons. The 8 dragons opened their jaws and pounced onto the tentacular king-class beast, biting out chunks of bloody flesh, even tearing through a few tentacles in the process. Both sides went all out in a savage and vicious manner. The other king beast flashed and charged through the group, its blades slashing out, and directly tore through 2 experts in their gold-grade armor, before tearing them apart and swallowing them. Chapter 1209, Intense Battle in the Nest. The true god expert of the man-eater race, Guili, who was 4 m tall, possessing a single green horn, his entire body covered in green fur, and his visage ferocious and terrifying, had a vicious glint in his eyes before he suddenly transformed. His physique ballooned to a size of over 10 m, similar to the green-tooth ghost that Zhong had come across before. After he transformed, a terrifying aura emitted from him, and in a flash, he had appeared in front of the tentacular king-class beast, grabbing one of the tentacles and slammed the beast viciously onto the ground. The beast true god Zhu Hua, who had a true dragon head, his entire body covered in gold dragon scales, his height of about 3 m and his physique powerful, charged right ahead. He appeared in front of that tentacular beast and grabbed out, ripping one tentacle away. Harlem wielded a might gold bat leaks, looking like a heavenly god as he slashed out at the tentacular king-class beast, his strike seemingly capable of ripping space apart. The tentacular king-class beast raised one of its blades, slashing back at the gold batleaks, forcefully parrying that slash. At the same time, the rest of its tentacles shot out towards Guili, Zhuhua, and Harlem. The strength of the Tentacular King-class beast was not to be underestimated. Its tentacles could even injure a true god expert heavily, to the point of death. Guili and Zhuhua channeled their strength, slamming out at the tentacles, blasting them apart. Under the frenzied assault of three true gods, the Tentacular King-class beast continued to shudder and tremble, fresh blood flowing, and it lost all energy to retaliate. Seeing that, everyone's faces fell, their fear towards the King-class beast increasing. They had finally understood how terrifying a King-class beast was. After all, Harlem and the other two were true god warriors. They simply had to lift a finger and they could wipe out a Type 9 expert. No one present could hope to take on the combined attacks of these three experts. And yet, even when assaulting the weakened King-class beast, they had no way of killing it at one go. One could only imagine the true terror of the beast when it was at its peak. 4 true god experts joining hands to take down 2 Tentacular King-class beasts, while the rest of the experts had to deal with the 10,000 over tentacular beasts in the nest. Harlem slashed out at the King-class beast and yelled, "Zhuhua, you go help those fledglings carve out a path. Quickly eliminate that injured King-class beast." Currently, the 3 experts had launched into a flurry of attacks at the Tentacular King-class beast, causing it grievous injuries. Zhuhua could pry himself away from the battle to assist the Type 9 powerhouses. Those Type 9 experts were not a match for the 10,000-odd tentacular beast. Even if they were equipped with gold-grade treasures, they could not hope to withstand the multitude of attacks. The difference in strength was too great. Okay. Zhuhua did not waste any breath, immediately charging towards the tentacular beasts. He channeled his energy, and his claws slashed out with 20 beams, slicing through the horde of monsters. Within the space, many tentacular beasts fell under the merciless attacks of Zhuhua, their bodies sliced apart and fresh blood flowed. Many of the experts quickly followed after, charging at those tentacular beasts. A number of them had ranged weapons, firing out at the tentacular beasts, tearing them apart. The tentacular beasts were a powerful alien species of the universe, capable of devouring almost anything, including domains, laws, energies, atmospheric chi, spatial energies, etc. Hence, the comprehension that these powerhouses obtained through the Tower of Babel was basically obsolete in the face of these monsters. However, the exchange system had its fair share of powerful equipment that could be effective. The only regret was that their defenses were tough and their regeneration terrifying. It took many hits from those gold-grade treasures just to take one down. The majority of the rest had close combat gold-grade weapons. They could only charge in frantically at the horde, displaying their strongest attacks to kill the beasts. A long gold-grade train of over 100 appeared, smashing through the horde, slamming into one particular tentacular beast viciously, causing its body to burst apart. After that, the train continued to surge forward, crushing everything in its path, directly turning 20-odd tentacular beasts into meat paste. However, just as it killed about 29 of the beasts, hundreds of tentacles bore down on it, wrapping around that invincible and indestructible item, forcefully holding it in place. The next moment, a dozen tentacular beasts slammed into the gold train, causing it to shudder intensely. At the same, many of the beasts began to slash out viciously. Under those attacks, the gold train that had been invincible and indestructible throughout the 800 worlds finally had a number of dangerous cracks. The owner was shocked and hastily channeled his treasure, causing it to billow with more steam, as it tried to shake off the tentacular beasts. However, the tentacles were too numerous, and regardless of how the gold train struggled, it had no way of extracting itself. The gold train needed time to accelerate for its speed and destructive power to be most effective. Once it was impeded by the tentacles, its strength would be reduced greatly. Furthermore, these tentacular beasts were much more powerful than those outside. Even true god experts would find it hard to escape from these beasts. As it was on the verge of breaking apart, Zhong appeared like a specter among the horde, punching out at one of the beasts, instantly turning it into meat paste. Before the rest of the beasts could react, Zhong punched out continuously, slamming more of them into the ground before jumping on the train. He roared out, "Head towards the injured king-class beast. Go. I will protect all of you." Before this, as they all gone through the Tower of Babel, Zhong had great enmity with the owner of this gold train. However, under the current circumstances they could only join forces. A clear voice sounded from within, all right. At the same time, the owner pulled out a gold seed that he had obtained from the Tower of Babel, throwing it at the damaged gold train. The seed emitted a powerful radiance enveloping the train, and the damages began to repair at a visible rate. At the same time, the speed of the train picked up, and it smashed into the injured tentacular king-class beast. Along the way, hundreds of tentacles continued to writhe around, trying to constrict the train. Zhong stood on the train, wielding a gold-grade flame battle blade slashing out at the tentacles, slicing them up. More tentacular beasts lunged towards the train viciously. Zhong ran along the train, slashing out continuously without a break, easily killing the numerous tentacular beasts. The other beasts far away felt the threat to their king, and quickly opened up their mandibles, firing out blue beams at the train. The train radiated brightly, activating its gold-grade shield, forcefully blocking the beams. The train was a gold-grade treasure after all, and its defenses were astonishing. Its shield had negated most of the beams. Only the bladed limbs of the beasts could damage the shield and its body. The train continued to chug and smash forward mercilessly, bashing through numerous beasts, while Zhong stood on top, wielding his flame battle blade to take care of those that got too close. In a few breaths, the gold train continued on its track, smashing into the tentacular king-class beast that only had its upper body intact. With a loud blast, the heavily injured beast was slammed to one side, the connections and tentacles filled with nourishment ripped apart. The body of the king-class beast bled out a little, but other than that there were no other visible injuries. At that moment, the beast had finally regained a slight amount of its strength. It let out a weak roar of rage, one tentacle smashing towards the gold train. With a loud blast, the gold train was smashed and destroyed, half of its carriage entirely devastated. The rest of it was sent soaring back towards the horde of tentacular beasts. Chapter 12:10, Killing the King Beast. Taking the opportunity when the king-class beast was distracted by the gold train, Zhong's holy light wings burst open, as he turned into a flash of light and charged right beside the beast. He then slashed down with all his might, the flame battle blade burning brightly. The blade sliced down as though meeting an incredibly tough wall, and barely got past the first layer. In a rage, Zhong roared out, his body tensing up, every single cell bursting forth with power. His strength reached 100-fold as he shouted, "Fusion Slash!" At that moment, the flame battle blade seemed to burst forth with terrifying might, causing the carapace of the king-class beast to burst open, fresh blood splattering everywhere. This particular move that used the potential of the cells within Zhong's body to burst forth with strength was a secret move he comprehended in the 100-year close cultivation. It was only possible with his god-devil physique. Had he tried to use this move at the Type 8 realm, his body would have burst apart. Even at the half-step true god realm, this move was extremely consuming, and it could only be utilized once, not in a prolonged state. The blade sliced through the body of the king-class beast, however, it did not die, instead, letting out a piercing shriek. A tentacle shot out, aiming to strike Zhong viciously. The blade flashed once more as his cells burst forth once more with their potential, and in a brilliant gleam of light, the tentacle was sliced off and dropped to the ground. After slicing through the tentacle, the holy light wings flapped, and Zhong's speed soared, charging towards the head of the king-class beast. He then burst forth once more with the fusion slash, attacking the head. See. Following a miserable scream of agony, the head was torn apart, and the brain inside was incinerated, turning into ash rapidly before the beast died. With the death of the king-class beast, there was a thick and abundant mysterious energy that entered Zhong, filled with truths of the universe, not only nourishing him with life force but also a part of the energies, truths, principles and even spatial laws that the king-class beast had obtained. After he absorbed the life force, Zhong had a flash of insight, obtaining some conjectures about the Tower of Babel as well as the tentacular planet itself. So it was like this. The bodies of these tentacular beasts are truly amazing. There are some similarities between my god-devil physique, god-devil imprint, and these beasts. It was likely that the owner of the system had researched on the physiques of these beasts to create the god-devil physique. The ability to absorb everything of the imprint is similar to these beasts' abilities to consume everything as well. The difference is that the direction of the god-devil imprint is for humans to evolve, absorbing the purest life force, while these tentacular beasts absorbed all sorts of energies to fight and nourish themselves. From the perspective of an evolution standpoint, the God Devil imprint definitely has an advantage, but from a combat perspective, the tentacular beasts are stronger. As long as I absorb enough king-class beasts, I can combine the best of both worlds, and become even stronger. Jianghu was still holding off the other tentacular king-class beast, and when he saw what happened over at Zhong's end, he was filled with shock. What? He actually killed that tentacular king-class beast. Isn't this Zhong too overpowered? Even if he is an oracle, killing a king-class by himself is just too heaven-defying. The past few oracles that I've seen were also dragons amongst men, but they cannot compare to him. Harlem had a similar look of shock. That's crazy. This fellow is just at the great circle of the Type 9 realm, and yet he had already surpassed us Type 10 experts. It's the first time seeing such a terrifying existence. The tentacular king-class beast was a Type 10 life form. At its peak, a single beast could take on 2 Type 10 experts and not be at a disadvantage. This time, even if the strength within the nest had been affected, it was still incredibly vicious and could suppress Jianghu. With such a powerful beast, even if it were injured, it was difficult for a Type 9 powerhouse to be able to injure it with gold-grade equipment, much less kill one. And yet, Zhong was able to do so, causing everyone to be shocked. After Zhong killed the tentacular king-class beast, the numerous tentacular beasts became enraged, roaring out and surging forth with even more fervor, pouncing towards Zhong. The rest of the beasts at a distance had also discarded their targets, opening their mouths to fire out blue beams at Zhong. The holy light wings on Zhong's back flashed, and he transformed into a beam of light as he pounced towards the queen-class beast. In a breath, he had appeared on top of it, his cells transforming once more as he slashed down viciously at its head. That strike was able to cause a deep gash as large amounts of blood began to pour out. The head alone of the tentacular queen-class beast was over a few hundred meters in length, thus Zhong's attack could only cause a deep gash and not kill it in a single strike. Even so, the queen-class beast let out an agonized shriek. It was an egg-producing machine, the core and nucleus of the tentacular beast. However, its combat abilities were not particularly strong, although its defenses were something to behold. At that instant, the tentacular beast charged towards Zhong frantically. The king-class beast engaged in battle with Jianghu quickly turned and dashed towards Zhong, while holding up its torn-off flesh due to those demonic dragons. The other tentacular king-class beast that was held by the other 2 true gods was immobilized. Zhong knew his time was little, thus his cells continued to transform, his flame battle blade slashing down repeatedly. As he was slashing out viciously, the head of the queen class was torn through, its blood flowing profusely. After barely a second, Zhong had already destroyed the head and retrieved the nucleus within. After eliminating the queen class beast, a thick life force thrice that of the king class beast surged through Zhong. After he fully absorbed that mysterious and powerful energy, his body began to strengthen once more, evolving towards an even more perfect state. Having cultivated over 100 years within the Room of Time, Zhong had obtained all sorts of knowledge and understood the techniques to transform his body. He had also truly grasped the miraculous properties of his god-devil physique. It was because of this that he could help his body achieve the next step in evolution quickly. At the moment that Zhong slaughtered the queen-class beast, the king-class beast had arrived in front of Zhong, slashing out savagely. The same instant Zhong turned around, his flame battle blade searing as it met the king-class beast's strike. With a loud explosion, Zhong was sent flying back a few meters, but he deftly leaped into the tentacular beast horde and took out more of them. He blocked it. He actually blocked the attack of a king class. That's terrifying. He's obviously not at the true god realm yet, how could he do it? Seeing Zhong block the strike, many of the experts were all taken aback, their faces filled with disbelief. The all-out attack of the king-class beast could even surpass that of Harlem and the other Type 10 experts. To think that Zhong could actually block it, meant that his combat ability had even surpassed that of Harlem and the rest. At the moment of the queen-class beast's death, its abdomen burst apart as countless fist-sized tentacular beasts crawled out, escaping through countless channels. They were not yet matured, but as long as one got out, it was possible for one of them to evolve into another queen-class beast. At the same time, the nest began to break apart, as a bright green energy shot towards the sky, radiating outwards. When Jianghu saw this, he shouted, "Flee! Once a queen-class beast dies, the entire nest will collapse." The king-class beasts of the other two nests will come over quickly to provide reinforcements. We have to evacuate now. Chapter 12:11. Desperate Situation. The moment he finished, he had quickly fled towards the exit. Harlem and the rest also quickly turned around, fleeing frantically. The tentacular king-class beasts all grew under extreme circumstances, each of them possessing capabilities well beyond Jianghu and the rest. Since this nest was destroyed, the surrounding king-class beasts would definitely rush over to provide reinforcements. If they all stayed here, everyone would die without a doubt. Jianghu and the rest had already suffered some losses against the king-class beasts, and a few of their true god comrades in the past had fallen under the siege of those beasts. That sort of despair and the hopeless situation was not something they wanted to relive. The moment the true gods turned to flee, the rest of the powerhouses quickly followed after. The rest of the tentacular beasts and the king-class beast did not even bother about them. Instead, they turned to charge at Zhong. A bunch of bastards. Zhong stared at the incoming horde, his expression turning ugly. His holy light wings flapped once, and while wielding his flame battle blade, he quickly soared out. The beasts all tried to pounce towards him, their sharp blades slashing out, while their tentacles formed dense nets in a bid to impede Zhong. Zhong waved the blade, slashing out at the numerous tentacular beasts, turning them into slices while he continued to charge out in a frenzy. After absorbing the life force of the queen-class beast, Zhong's combat strength had already exceeded that of a true god powerhouse. He continued to swing his flame battle blade away, carving out a path through slaughter. As he flew out of the horde, one of the king-class beasts, which had been heavily injured, slashed out at him with a flash of its bladed limb. In response, Zhong swung his blade viciously, attacking the bladed limb, and his strength burst out in a terrifying fashion. The resulting force from the collision forced Zhong backward from the horde. Within a breath, countless beasts pounced towards Zhong, their sharp blades aiming for his face. Their blades were sharp and numerous, even the gold battle armor would not be able to resist that sort of damage. In mid-air, the wings on Zhong's back flapped and he twisted to evade many of the beasts, slashing out with his flame battle blade, taking out many of them. The king-class beast continued to chase after Zhong in a frenzy. Each time he tried to escape from the horde, the beast would send out its tentacles to slap Zhong back into the horde. The other king-class beast continued to lay on the ground silently, slowly extracting some blue light from the ground, its strength recovering to a terrifying extent. Each king-class beast could take on two true god experts like Jianghu at its peak strength. This time they had been casting their nests, hence the drop in strength. That was how the true gods could suppress these king-class beasts. The moment they recovered their strength, it would spell Zhong's doom. Zhong continued to slaughter the tentacular beasts, absorbing the life force. However, he was expending much of his stamina and strength every passing second. If this went on, he would definitely fall. Save me. Right at this time, there was an urgent plea for help within the horde. That is, the gold train. It was still intact. Zhong swept out with his sense and discovered the golden train still struggling inside the horde. With a flicker, he charged towards its position, slicing up any beast standing in his way. In a few breaths, he had appeared in front of the train, which had been battered to a pathetic state. There were only 3 carriages left, and its length was now reduced to about 50 m. Many of the tentacular beasts were holding it down with their tentacles, slashing down with their bladed limbs, damaging the train. Zhong transformed into a beam as he slaughtered the beasts nearby. He then leaped on top of it and roared out, "Charge now!" Good. The gold train blew steam, and the track appeared once more as it charged forwards frantically. Zhong continued to slash out in a frenzy, killing any tentacular beast that got too near. The king-class beast that had been harassing Zhong arrived in front of him, slicing down with its blades, its tentacles also shooting out to hit him. At that instant, Zhong's cells transformed once more, his strength bursting out as he charged forward, and slashed out viciously at the tentacular king-class beast. His strength burst out, adding on the intense force of the gold train, both joined together, allowing him to exceed the strength of the tentacular king-class beast, forcing the beast to fly away. Zhong was also knocked back, striking the train hard due to the recoil, causing the gold train to shudder slightly. The gold train took the chance to push its speed and shot out of the nest. About 500 m away, one king-class beast rushed over, slashing down viciously at the train. Forcing down the turmoil within his body, Zhong ignited his cells once more, and the blade in his hands flashed out, slicing out at the blade of the king-class beast. With a loud blast, Zhong was sent flying once more due to insufficient strength, as he slammed into the train once more, spitting out a mouthful of blood. The capabilities of the king-class beast was extremely terrifying. Two of the tentacles shot forward, directly slamming into the gold train, causing even more damage while sending it back towards the nest. At the entrance of the nest, there were countless tentacular beasts swarming all over the place, sealing it shut. Within the gold train there was a fearful shout. The reinforcements have arrived. What do we do, Zhong? Zhong swept out with his sense, only to see numerous tentacular beasts all gathered outside the entrance. Only the nest that was spitting the green lights did not have any beasts. He immediately made the decision, head towards that other nest, it could be our only chance. All right. The owner of the gold train was a decisive fellow as well, quickly urging his treasure towards the new direction. The tentacular beasts within the nest rushed towards them frantically, in a bid to slam into the gold train. Zhong stood on top of the train, slashing out at the numerous tentacles. At that instant, the gold train had charged towards the cave that was emitting green light. That same moment, the king-class beast that had been absorbing energy let out an earth-shaking roar, as 8 tentacles shot out like lightning. 2 of them wrapped around the gold train, forcefully bring it to a halt. The other 6 tentacles slammed towards Zhong with lightning speed. Initially, all 8 tentacles had been broken. However, after absorbing enough strength, it released it out into 8 tentacles. The regeneration ability of the tentacular king-class beast was extremely terrifying, surpassing even true god experts. However, the true gods had indestructible souls. As long as their enemies were not these tentacular beasts, they could flee with just their nascent souls alone before resurrecting. Abandon the train and flee. Zhong roared out in anger, his body transforming once more as the flame battle blade blasted out, slicing out at the tentacles of the king-class beast. Zhong made use of rebound to send himself towards the green cave. At the same time, a small figure charged out from the gold train, rushing towards the green cave. Currently, the entire nest was crawling with tentacular beasts, and this green cave was their only chance. Seeing Zhong charge through the green cave, the rest of the tentacular beasts quickly surrounded the place, but they just gathered and did not dare to enter, as though afraid of something. The recovered king-class beast let out another furious shriek, the horrifying sounds reverberating through the region. On the other side, Jianghu and the rest had been slaughtering their way out after abandoning Zhong and the others, arriving outside of the nest. Ha ha ha. Universe tree. I've been waiting for this day for so many years. At this time, a golden light shot towards the sky, rushing up the universe tree like a meteor, aiming for the top. Chapter 12:12, The Ancient, Strongest Type 10 Powerhouse. Eyeing the giant universe tree, those Type 9 experts that had not reached the half-step true god realm was full of joy. The great god world. We can make use of the tree to return to the great god world. With this thought, many of them could not wait any longer and charged up the tree in a frenzy. Jianghu stared at the fleeing Type 9 powerhouses, laughing coldly, "Bunch of fools. Let's go." Harlem and the rest eyed the leaving Type 9 powerhouses with cold looks, as they also turned to flee towards the 5E grade battleships. Those who had reached the half-step great god realm were helpless, and could only follow Harlem and the rest. They had obtained their own information through the exchange system, clarifying that whatever Jianghu and the rest spoke of, and they were indeed unable to make use of the same passage to return. Under the cover of the 5E grade battleships, the rest swiftly soared back into the battleships. On the other side, after losing the suppressing fire, countless tentacular beasts poured out from the 2 nests. The moment they rushed out, they quickly pounced towards the Type 9 experts. "Save us. Help. Help me. Ah." A number of screams of despair rang out from within the horde, as the Type 9 experts were all torn apart by the beasts, their gold-grade treasures not helping in the slightest. Without the true god experts to hold the fort, the Type 9 experts were met with a mishap and quickly perished. Bu Lai saw the struggling experts, his eyes flashing with unwillingness. "Sir Harlem, why don't we go and save them? If we act now, we should be able to rescue a few." Harlem replied with a cold look, Since they want to go, we will not keep them. If they can break through, it is their own capabilities. If not, it's their fate. There's a limit to our strength and we cannot keep helping them. If you want to, go by yourself then. Bulai noticed that most of the powerhouses present did not share his views. Instead, they had a look of schadenfreude. He thus kept silent. The fact that the Type 9 powerhouses were not willing to stay on to fight caused dissatisfaction among most of the half-step True God experts. They were expressing their unhappiness through this episode. Without the support of the 5E grade battleships, it was unlikely that many of them could make it past the beast horde. It was because of this that the number of survivors that returned from the Tower of Babel each time was minimal. However, those who did come back had obtained countless treasures and had huge leaps in their strength. The numbers of the tentacular beasts were in the millions, and the dozens of Type 9 experts struggled for barely a while before falling. Only the golden glint charged close to the peak of the universe tree. Thousands of tentacular beasts lunged for that golden beam. Trash. Die. There was a roar of rage as a number of golden bones shot out, piercing the heads of the beasts and accurately destroyed them. The golden silhouette continued to run, the golden bones blasting out at the heads of the tentacular beasts, tearing them apart, while it continued towards the tree. On the 5E grade battleships, everyone watched this with a shocked look. Jianghu gazed at that beam, his eyes filled with disbelief. Strong. That fellow's combat strength should be above the Type 9 realm. However, it's not quite at the Type 10 realm. Strangely, he's only at the peak of the Type 9 realm. What's going on? Harlem. Didn't you receive all those who ascended? Harlem also frowned, revealing a pondering expression. No. That day I did bring everyone back. Those who did not make it have been confirmed to be corpses, their souls also devoured by the tentacular beasts. All of a sudden, one half-step True God expert shouted out, "That's Amano. He's the golden giant god guardian we came across at the 3rd level." Amano? He did not die. Impossible. He shouldn't be alive. Amano, golden giant god? That's not right. Amano is an expert from the bone-consuming ghost race. How did it become like this? Hearing Amano's name, the 5 True God warriors were taken aback as they began to discuss, and the atmosphere instantly became tense. At this point, one evil devil expert at the half-step True Devil realm asked curiously, "Sir Jianghu, who is Amano exactly?" Jianghu fell silent before sighing. "A long time ago, Amano was our leader. He led us against the tentacular beast. At that time we trusted him a lot and killed many beasts. However, after 1,000 years he suddenly schemed to kill all of us, intending to consume us to break through. The bone-consuming ghost race has a special ability. The consumption of bones would hasten evolution. If he could digest us, he would reach an even higher state. We discovered his ploy and all the Type 10 experts surrounded to attack him. In the end, 6 of us fell in order to kill him." At this point, everyone was filled with a chill. The peak strength of Amano was truly shocking. He had taken out 6 other Type 10 experts before he perished. He was truly heaven-defying. After all, even the peak-strength tentacular king-class beast could only suppress 2 true gods. They were not Amano's match. Lai Yin stared at the beam and frowned. If that fellow truly is Amano, what is he intending to do? A true god expert could not pass through the universe tree. Jianghu had a look of wisdom as he came up with a conjecture. Simple, that fellow should be something that was cultivated by the strand of Amano's indestructible soul. He should be suppressing his realm in order to head back to the great god world to lord over everything. Once he returns to the great god world, he would invincible and no one can resist him. Harlem asked solemnly, "Should we stop him? If we do it now, it's possible to crush his hopes." Jianghu spoke, "Why should we? Once he leaves the tentacular planet, he will have nothing to do with us. Even if he is invincible in the great god world, what does that have to do with us? Even if he tries the Tower of Babel again, who knows how far in the future that would be? By that time we might not even be alive any longer. Forcefully keeping him here would just breed another strong enemy." As a devil, Jianghu's thoughts were usually more self-motivated. In the Fort of Hope he was nice to Zhong and the rest because there was value in them. Once the value was used up, he would not waste time or energy to bother. Hearing those words, everyone fell silent. Lei Huang and the rest wanted to stop Amano, but they had no way of doing so, and could only watch wide-eyed as Amano charged through the peak, making use of the spatial transfer to disappear from this world. Jianghu spoke, Let's go. Once the first nest is destroyed, the energy will be at an imbalance. The rest of the nests would crumble after. We can return to the Fort of Hope. Under his orders, the 5 E-grade battleships immediately turned around, heading towards the fort. With the numerous tentacular beasts, even the proclaimed strongest Type 10 powerhouse Amano had not been able to stop them at that time. Jianghu and the rest were definitely not a match as well. Their aim was to destroy the nests and obtain room for a breather. Soon, in the void space of the great god world, a huge hole appeared as the golden giant frame of Amano stepped through, descending upon the plain. I'm back from the Tower of Babel. Haha, from today on, I'll be unstoppable on the path to being a true god. I'll be invincible throughout the heavens and earth. After descending, Amano laughed out loud. However, he swept his right hand a gaze and noticed a map. This is? Amano stared at the map with no recollection. However, after a moment of hesitation, he tore through space and stepped in the spatial hole. He arrived at a mysterious group of caves, and within them, there was a strange altar. On top of it there was a black rock. The moment he stepped into the caves, the black rock shot up and into his sea of consciousness. In an instant, countless memories flowed through his brain. This was his memory capsule, carrying all of his memories, and was one of his backup plans. At his peak, he had been capable of countless techniques and was incredibly strong. When the rest had joined forces to take him down, he had set aside countless backup plans, and this was one of them. Chapter 12-13 Catastrophe of the Great God World. When Amano was done absorbing the memories, he came to a complete understanding. So this was the case. I had already reached the true God stage. It was only because I was killed once and my memories tampered with by the system, that I forgot everything. However, once I've absorbed enough strength, I will be able to break through once more, reaching the true God realm. The current Amano was formed from a strand of his indestructible soul, which would not be easily extinguished. As long as a single strand still exists, there would be a chance for a revival. However, even if there was a strand of soul left, in order to reach the peak of prowess once more, it would take a long time of accumulation of strength and energy. As long as the remnant soul of a true god has enough time, it would not be a problem to reach the half-step true god stage once more. However, the bottleneck to cross the true god realm, even for someone who had reached it before. Amano was one of the most terrifying characters among the true gods, far surpassing the rest of his peers. When he was taken down, he had already left so many backdoors for himself just so he could reach the peak once more. Now, let's break the half-step true god bottleneck. There was a glint in his eyes as he suddenly let out a huge roar, and a terrifying surge of strength blasted outwards. His aura then rose rapidly, swiftly breaking through to the half-step true god realm, and continued to strengthen. It only came to a stop when he was right at the peak of the half-step true god realm. A savage look appeared on his face as he muttered ferociously, "Seems like this is the maximum right now. I need more flesh and bones to help my breakthrough. As long as I have not reached the true god stage, even if I massacre all 800 worlds, I would not be forced out by the god-devil system. This time I must wipe the whole place clean, turning them all into my nourishment. At the point when I break through, I will leap beyond the true god realm and truly escape the grasp of the system." In ancient times, Amano had been the top expert among those at the true god realm. He had also come in contact with the absolute threshold of the true god realm. That year, as long as he took that one step, he had the possibility of breaking through, exceeding a true god powerhouse. It was because of that higher realm that enticed him so much, pushing him beyond the edge, causing him to betray his comrades and was forcibly killed by them. There seems to be delicious food over there. His divine sense swept out and a savage look appeared. He tore through space and stepped right into the void. About 3,000 li to the east, there was a huge mountain range and a half-step true god WRM dragon was currently sleeping. All of a sudden, there was a spatial fluctuation in front of it as Amano stepped through. The black WRM dragon took a look at Amano with a hint of viciousness as it growled, "Scram. Get out of here now, the great Dozera is in a good mood and will not take offense. Otherwise I will definitely tear you apart. My mood is good today, seeing you such a delicious prey, my appetite is truly aroused. After eating you and all of the mutant beasts in this mountain range, my power is sure to rise once more." Amano gazed at Dozera condescendingly before laughing and grabbed out at him. A powerful hand appeared out of midair and reached for the black WRM dragon. Audacious! You dare offend the great Dozera! You shall pay with your life. The black WRM dragon roared out, and transformed into a true dragon, soaring into the sky, congealing its own dragon claw to slam into the hand in the skies. This particular black WRM dragon was already capable of transforming its entire body into that of a true dragon, leaving only its eyes. Once its eyes also completed the transformation, it could step through and reach the Type 10 stage. Among the numerous experts of the great god world, it was already considered a peak existence. When both hands came in contact, Amano's hand that was capable of blotting out the sky directly crushed the dragon claw, before grabbing the black dragon in one swift motion. Dozera struggled within the energy palm, its face full of shock as it roared, "How is this possible? How could you defeat me so easily? Who the hell are you?" Haha. Remember this, the one who consumes you is me, Amano. Amano roared with savage laughter as his mouth opened wide, and clamped down viciously on the body of Dozera, directly crushing his head. In a few breaths, he had devoured the whole of Dozera cleanly. After that, he swept out with his divine sense and got the entire situation of the mountain range within his perception. So much delicious food, seems like I can eat my fill. Amano laughed out savagely and flew above the mountain range. He then opened his mouth and started to suck, becoming a huge 100 wide black hole. In a flash, the thousands of mutant beasts and mutant bugs were all sucked into the huge whirlpool that was Amano's mouth. Many of them were not capable of resisting the suction force and were dragged into his mouth. At that moment, they were then crushed by his sharp teeth. Not good. There's a huge freak slaughtering everybody. Flee. Dozera had also been killed by him. The numerous Type 8 and Type 9 powerhouses could feel the terror of Amano as they fled with their lives. In their bid to escape, they formed a huge beast horde. Want to escape? This is the great god world, not the Tentacular planet. Come back and become my food. With a grim laugh, the atmospheric energy consolidated behind him, pushing his strength higher. His whirlpool of a mouth became even stronger as it continued to exert a terrifying suction force, as though capable of swallowing the entire planet. The countless life forms fleeing could not get far before they were all dragged into his mouth. The entire mountain range was consumed by Amano, exhibiting his terrifying might. This was a true god. On Tentacular planet, the powers of law, Tao, principles and mostly everything was restricted, thus most of the powerhouses could not utilize their strength. If they were allowed to return to the great god world, if they were to go all out, the devastation was sure to be even more terrifying than Amano. Amano could sense the accumulated strength within him and nodded in satisfaction. Not bad, it's already at 30%. After another 70%, I will have the strength that surpasses true gods. I remember the devil race to be over at this direction. Let's head over then. With a thought, Amano tore through space once more, and appeared in a dark and insidious corner of the universe, filled with violent and powerful devil chi. At the moment he appeared, there was a cold voice that rang out. Who's that? How dare you barge into my 10,000 devil altar? Do you want to be kept here, never to see the sunlight again? Ha ha ha. The presence of so many experts, such delicious food. You are all my Amano's food. Offer your flesh and blood. With a vicious laugh, Amano opened his mouth once more, executing his suction ability, and started to suck in the entire place. There was a loud roar as the planet began to shudder, and the laws broke down, causing many devil cultivators to fly into Amano's mouth before being crushed. The current Devil Lord, sky-suppressing Devil Lord, had a look of shock as he roared out madly, "Activate the final defense." Within the deepest recess of the planet, there were countless cultivators urging on something with their strength. The devil chi gathered and congealed into a terrifying monstrosity with a pair of huge devil wings. This manifestation slammed viciously into the black hole that was Amano. There was a loud explosion as the black hole collapsed, while Amano himself was sent flying a few hundred meters. All the Type 5 and Type 6 experts within the 10,000 devil altar were also crushed by the recoil. Shit, it's still a little too early. I need to go absorb more lives and strengthen myself. When I reach the true god stage, I will devour this place. Amano was sent flying a few meters, but he was not injured, instead choosing to leave and find some other prey. Not too long after, Amano appeared in front of a human kingdom as he opened his mouth to suck, and chewed numerous humans in his mouth. Chapter 12-14. Zhong steps into the Type 10 realm. Amano swallowed an entire human kingdom and had a dissatisfied expression. Damn it, these humans are too weak. Even after swallowing a few billions, it isn't comparable to a Type 9 expert at all. Seems like I need to consume something stronger. He quickly made the choice and tore through space once more, leaving behind a desolate city without a single corpse. Amano began to massacre countless powerful races, each of their millions and billions of people consumed by him. As the numerous races fell one after another, it caused a huge uproar and fear to spread through the great god world. He did not have a camp, nor did he communicate. He just continued to slaughter city after city, consuming living thing after living thing. Amidst that slaughter, his strength was rising steadily. With such a threat, the countless races of the great god world had no choice but to band together, sending an entire unit of half-step true gods to deal with Amano. However, the entire team was wiped out in a single move, as Amano's strength was already beyond a true god expert. After that battle, all the races were shocked. Amano could be considered an invincible existence, and the only thing they could do was to utilize their secret techniques to seal their positions and hide. Amano was also busy consuming the living things of the great god world and did not bother to chase after those experts. As long as he could become a true god expert, he could easily consume the entire great god world. No matter what corner the other races were hiding at, they would not be able to escape his attention. On the other side, Zhong had entered the cave emitting the green light and continued to descend downwards. The energy surged through him as though intending to blow him up. Help! Help me! The owner of the gold train was already bloated like a huge balloon the moment he entered the cave, as though on the verge of exploding. He began to moan out in pain, pleading with Zhong. Zhong roared out to remind him, "Refine the energy. Channel it into your golden seed." At the same time, Zhong channeled the energy through to his gold battle armor, the radiant battleship, the flame battle blade, as well as the treasures he obtained from the Tower of Babel, like the holy light wings and the golden battle bow. After absorbing that boundless strength, the treasures began to radiate with a dazzling glow, becoming even more resplendent. As Zhong sent the energy out, his body began to feel better. The owner of the gold train was also shocked to see his seed sprout into a gold tree when he channeled the inbound energy into it. When the tree was formed, it began to absorb the green energy frantically, giving the owner some breathing space. Among the few gold-grade treasures in Zhong's hands, the holy light wings as well as the radiant battleship had the highest potential for evolution. After absorbing enough energy, they began to evolve once more. When the holy light wings evolved, there was an additional pair of wings that appeared. At the same time, mysterious runes began to shine and engrave onto the wings. As for the radiant battleship, while there were not many changes on the exterior, within, more strange and mystical runes appeared at various corners. When all the gold-grade treasures were done with their evolution, Zhong felt the energy surge through his body again, turning him bloated. "No, if this goes on, my body will not be able to handle this. I'm already at the great circle of the Type 9 realm, I can make use of the energy to charge through the Type 10 stage. Even if I fail, I can wear down the bottleneck greatly." There was a sliver of understanding, and with a thought, he began to direct the flow of the energy towards his gold god-devil nucleus. As the energy poured into his nucleus, they were turned into the gold liquid energy that nourished his indestructible nascent soul, evolving it towards an indestructible god soul. The moment he started condensing his god soul, it felt like he became a black hole, absorbing the boundless green energy into his body. For a short period of time, it felt like the region around him was a vacuum zone. When the owner of the gold train saw this, he quickly charged towards Zhong's side and heaved a sigh of relief. Had the energy continued to surge into him, he would have exploded. The train owner then began to observe Zhong quietly and was shocked. "This? He's charging through the true god realm. What terrifying energy. Is he intending to consume all these energies? Impossible, right? Based on the records of a true god breakthrough, the energy required should only be 10% of what he is currently doing. Breaking through to the true god realm did require a vast amount of energy, but what Zhong was absorbing was easily more than 10 times what the owner of the gold train knew. This was basically due to Yu Zhong's god-devil physique, the most perfect body. Since he had absorbed the life force of the king-class beasts, his body had already evolved, becoming even stronger, thus it was much harder for him to break through. With such a body, without the god-devil imprint and his fortuitous encounters, it would be impossible for him to break through even if he trained for 100 years. The green energy was simply boundless. As long as any tentacular beasts dropped in, they would explode. However, Yu Zhong's ability to consume the energy was terrifying as well. There was no sign of him exploding. After they fell through the hole for another 3,000 kilometers, they landed on the ground. Yu Zhong was still absorbing the green energy, metamorphosizing and evolving. After 3 days, a powerful aura emitted out from Yu Zhong as he slowly opened his eyes. 2 godly lights shone. Succeeded? He actually succeeded. The train owner stared with a look of shock. Yu Zhong, you succeeded? In response, he turned to look and laughed incredulously. That's right. Only to discover that the owner was actually a beautiful girl with a whole body covered in green scales, a pair of dragon wings, a long dragon tail, yet her figure was full and bouncy. Qingye looked at Yu Zhong, her eyes flashing with a hint of fear as she bowed deeply. I'm Qingye of the green-toothed dragon race. I apologize for the offenses I've committed in the Tower of Babel. Sir Yu Zhong, if you want to kill me, please grant me a quick death. Before he had even broken through, Qingye knew she was not his match. Now that he had reached the true god realm, there was no chance at all. Thus, she gave up resisting and was resigned to her fate. Yu Zhong reached his hand. Since we've fought together on this damned planet, just forget about it. However, may I have the gold seed please? It was a treasure that was hard to come by. Even if Yu Zhong had reached the true god stage, his gold-grade treasures were lacking. He intended to give the seeds to Ji Qingwu and the rest, hopefully grooming another batch of experts. There was a slight reluctance in Qingye's eyes, but she took it out respectfully, handing the small gold tree to Yu Zhong. Yes. He then kept the tree in his universe ring, before turning around to assess his surroundings. Right now they were in a huge cave, and there was still the terrifying green energy threatening to surge towards them. However, since reaching the true god realm, Yu Zhong's body was no longer the same, reaching even greater heights and was absorbing the energy entirely. He had the ability to fly out of the hole now and nothing would be able to stop him. However, he was extremely curious about the green energy as he headed deeper within. After following the hole for a few thousand lis, he finally came to a huge, empty field. At the center, there was a mysterious altar, and surrounding it were 9 by 9 81 powerful eggs. There was a gigantic green stone floating over the altar, and it was radiating with that unknown and vast power. Yu Zhong looked at the stone and had a look of delight. He flashed forwards and grabbed out at it. This is the greatest treasure beneath the ground. With this, my cultivation will soar by leaps and bounds. I can break through and control my own destiny. Chapter 12:15, Killing a True Dragon. Chapter 10:23, Killing a True Dragon. Cunning, the Alliance. When the green stone was grabbed in Yu Zhong's hands, an incomparably thick energy gushed into his body. Even with his physique, he felt like his body was stretched to the limit. With a thought, he quickly sent it into his universe ring. Once it was sent in, the energy emitted by the stone began to waft radiate through the ring. It could not dissipate, instead the energy began to condense into beads of elemental energy, scattering throughout the ring. The moment the green stone was grabbed by Yu Zhong, the 81 eggs that were full of life energy began to lose their vitality. At the same time, the universe tree seemed to have lost its source of strength and started to wither. Amidst the horde of tentacular beasts, the remaining 8 king-class beasts as well as the 2 queen-class beasts, let out shrieks before scrambling towards the cave that Yu Zhong was in. The universe tree was not only an energy source for the Fort of Hope but also an irreplaceable energy for the tentacular beasts. Once it withered, the reproduction capabilities of the tentacular beasts would be affected, and with every additional death meant one less beast. To the tentacular beasts, it was a terrible disaster. The beasts would establish nests around the tree in order to absorb huge amounts of energies, eroding the source to the Fort of Hope, but not extinguishing the tree itself. Inside the cave, one of the eggs suddenly trembled and cracked open. Out crawled a true dragon-like creature similar to those of Chinese mythology. This life form exuded a strong, violent aura, as it swept Yu Zhong a vicious glare, and opened its mouth to absorb the rest of the eggs. The eggs began to soar towards the true dragon-like creature. Since reaching the true God stage, Zhong had the indestructible God soul, and his perception was much stronger than when he was at the half-step true God stage. He could perceive all sorts of killing intent. He could sense the ill intentions of the creature, and with a frown, he immediately sent a palm in a bid to crush the creature. In a flash, a golden hand formed out of the energy around, pressing down on the creature. The true dragon creature had a vicious glint in its eyes, as it let out a roar of rage. A powerful energy fluctuation that could rival that of a true god was emitted out of it, and a true dragon claw materialized, clashing against Zhong's palm. With the assault of the draconic laws and principles, everything around the creature seemed to transform, becoming small dragons that pounced towards Zhong. Qinya could sense the dangerous and threatening fluctuations, and her eyes were filled with shock. True god-level beast, it is a true dragon. Dragons and phoenixes had faded from the worlds outside. Being mystical, divine beasts, after they reached maturity, they would possess true god strength. Among powerhouses of the same realm, they were terrifying. When the true dragon claw met the golden palm of Zhong, the dragon claw immediately crumbled, and the true dragon was also separated into two, fresh blood pouring out of its body. How is that possible? That's a true dragon, how could it be that weak? Qinya stared at Zhong and the defeated dragon, her eyes filled with shock. Is that to say he has already evolved to a realm far more terrifying than a true god? That's true dragon blood. A rare treasure that cannot be found outside. Qing Wu and the rest are in luck. Zhong laughed lightly as he looked at the dead dragon, grabbing it. A huge amount of blood flowed out, separated into various glass vials controlled by Zhong's will. True dragon blood was useless to Zhong. However, to the people he cared about, it was an incredible treasure. A single drop could change their entire physique and boost their potential. The young dragon opened its eyes and roared out in rage, "Let me go! Lowly human! You dare act against me, courting death! My parents are characters you cannot afford to offend. If you kill me, they will not let you off. Fool, you want to lie to me? If your parents really look upon you favorably, they would not have kept you here and become nourishment for the universe crystal. I don't have time to bicker with you, go and die." Zhong laughed coldly, pointing out with a finger as the fresh blood of the true dragon flowed out, entering into the various vials. At the same time, a powerful flame appeared, incinerating the body of the true dragon. In a few breaths there was nothing left. Right as the true dragon was being incinerated, its indestructible dragon soul soared out, trying to escape. As long as a single strand could make a way, it could return to being a true dragon in the future. However, the moment the soul shuddered, the powerful golden god-devil flame burnt brightly, enveloping it, and began to burn away at the soul. The soul struggled as it pleaded, "Ah! Please! Let me go! Human, I'm pleading you! Let me off!" It's too late. Zhong's eyes flashed coldly and his hands crushed down. The god-devil flames radiated brightly, incinerating the indestructible soul to nothing. As the soul was eradicated, the soul force was absorbed into Zhong's flame, causing it to become even more radiant. At the same time, the life force entered his own body. When Qinya saw how easily Zhong dealt with the indestructible soul, her heart was filled with shock. He could actually kill a true dragon just like that, that's too terrifying. After killing the true dragon, Zhong waved his hands, and immediately kept the 80 remaining eggs that had lost all signs of vitality, into his universe ring. These were all true dragon eggs and were mythical-level creatures. Even if they had lost their life force, they were still rare treasures. After Zhong kept the 80 eggs, the two tentacular king-class beasts came shooting in, waving their blades as they slashed out at Zhong. Eyeing the two king-class beasts, Zhong tapped his feet, and he appeared on top of one of them, his fist blasting out at its head. With a loud blast, the king-class beast was instantly obliterated, its body splattering apart in a mess of blood and flesh, as its life force entered Zhong's body. After that, Zhong stepped through the air, looking like an unstoppable war god, and with a finger the god-devil flames burst out, blasting onto the remaining king-class beast. The beast then turned to ashes within a short 2 seconds. That was a king-class beast. That's too terrifying. After reaching the true god realm, he is actually this strong. He's even above Qiyang and the rest. An oracle is truly something else. Qinya watched on silently, knowing that she could not participate. It did not matter if it was Zhong or the king-class beast, either of them could kill her with a single move. There are 8 more left. After dealing with 2 king-class beasts, Zhong charged outside, sensing the incoming tentacular king-class beasts from the other nests. In a few breaths, he had appeared in front of the 6 of them. There was a savage glint in the eyes of the 6 king-class beasts. They roared out loud and pounced towards Zhong at lightning speed. Zhong pointed out and his god-devil flame burst forth, enveloping the 6 king-class beasts, swallowing them. The king-class beasts could absorb energy, Daos, spatial laws, but they were unable to absorb the god-devil flames that Zhong produced. In 2 seconds the 6 king-class beasts turned into ashes amidst their struggling. Their pure and abundant life force surged through Zhong's body, allowing him to comprehend the numerous miraculous abilities of the king-class beasts. There are still 2 more. After he was done, he shot through towards the other nests, locking on to the 2 queen-class beasts. There were countless tentacular beasts inside the nest, and they poured towards Zhong like a wave. They were not afraid of death, and their numbers could easily overwhelm a Type 10 powerhouse. Zhong was wrapped in a layer of god-devil flames, burning the region of 30 m around him, as he blocked the oncoming attacks and incinerated them all. Chapter 12:16. The Owner of the God-Devil System. Chapter 12:16. The Owner of the God-Devil System. Cunning. The Alliance. Zhong continued to dash about as though the god of fire had descended upon the world, and everywhere he touched would be set ablaze. Only ashes remained behind him as he quickly soared out the nest of the queen-class beast. When he exited, all he saw around him was the dense horde of tentacular beasts. Based on what he estimated, it was easily over 1 billion, and it was not something even Amano at his peak would have dared to take on. The beasts all sensed the arrival of Zhong and opened their mandibles, and over 1 billion blue beams fired at him. Facing that, Zhong transformed into a gold beam of light, braving the attacks and soared towards another nest. In a few breaths, Zhong arrived at the deep part of the nest, blasting the queen-class beast into a few pieces with a single slap. After that, he quickly exited and made his way towards the remaining queen-class beast, also turning it into minced meat with a single slap, absorbing the life force. So it was like this: there's still potential for evolution between the tentacular beasts and god-devil physique. With the life force from those beasts, my strength can improve once again. When he finished absorbing the life force of the last queen-class beast, he had a flash of inspiration, understanding that the life force he had absorbed from the powerful tentacular beasts had surged into the various corners of his physique, turning it even more perfect. At this time, there was a gold beam that descended upon the ground, forming the figure of Light. Light giggled and asked, "Congratulations Zhong on killing all the king-class and queen-class beasts, as well as pushing your physique to the most perfect state. Now you have the qualifications to meet my master. Do you want to do so?" Zhong pondered and spoke, "Yes." Light waved her hands in response, and a beam of gold light shone upon Zhong, causing him to disappear. In an instant he had appeared in a strange world that looked like it was composed out of countless cosmic stars, with views into the various galaxies and universes. Zhong took in the sights with a chill down his back. Strong? This god-devil system is too frightening. It can transfer me before I even know it, and its strength is truly far above mine. Currently he was already a true god expert. It would be difficult to kill him. However, if the system decided to send him to far ends of the galaxies, it would take him goodness knew how long to reach Earth. It was also not impossible for him to be lost for more than hundreds and thousands of years. Zhong, didn't you want to meet me? Come on up. Right at this moment, there was the voice that he could not forget since the first day when it all happened, as a golden staircase materialized in front of him. He looked at the stairs, his scalp turning slightly numb, and he did not hesitate to walk up. Following the staircase, he found himself in a palace that was made entirely out of red crystals, and he saw something that shook him to his very core. In the numerous clear crystal pillars laid throughout the palace, there were true dragons, cheilants, phoenixes, as well as other mythical life forms. Each of them, if allowed to mature, would become true god-level experts. At the center of the palace, there was a floating head of a handsome man with purple hair. The right eye was pierced with 3 black needles as a black spear was pierced through the mouth, nailing the head to the throne. The AI of the god-devil system, Light, stood quietly watching the head smile at Zhong. The head used its remaining eye to stare at Zhong, his expression one of appreciation. Even though his mouth did not move, a voice rang out in his head. "Hi Zhong, it's the first time we meet. I'm Red Crystal King. The one who had toyed with your life, 'cause the changes on Earth, throwing the lives of over 6 billion humans on Earth into hell." Zhong frowned, asking slowly, "Red Crystal King, why did you do that?" The answer caused Zhong to be bewildered. "It's simple. It was all in order to create the strongest weapon that can kill me as well as my enemy." Red Crystal King stared at Zhong, his single eye filled with a heated look. "Zhong, you are the strongest and most perfect weapon that I've created. You possess the potential to kill me as well as my enemy. I am the master of the Izuma universe. Earth, the great god world, as well as the other 800 worlds of the god-devil system, are all under the Izuma universe, thus my own property. However, compared to the universe itself, this place is a barren one, and no one knows of the wormhole coordinates of this location. It could be considered a hidden and rural corner of the galaxy. A long time ago I was backstabbed by a despicable person, causing my state to be as you see. I made use of the god-devil system to flee here. However, my body has been destroyed by that despicable person, and my soul had already been largely destroyed by him. My head is nailed to the throne by the spear of destruction. Every day, I'm condemned to suffer pain on a scale you can't possibly imagine. I've had enough of this endless torment. I want someone to kill me and seek revenge for me. Thus, I made use of the god-devil system to spur the evolution of the human race in all 800 worlds, forcing you guys. Through the ages, I've experimented and failed, watching the chosen warriors of mine die to the various powerful monsters and existences of the universe. It has caused me disappointment and despair time after time. However, you Zhong have passed all my tests and reached the perfect Type 10 realm. Your potential and talent are boundless. Once you gain control of my strongest item, the god-devil system, you will be able to kill me and gain the power to deal with my hated enemy. Come on Zhong, as long as you're willing to kill me and promise to seek revenge for me, I will hand the god-devil system to you, and allow you to become the master of the great god world, as well as the 800 worlds, with unbelievable authority and strength. The system gives you control over time and creation, and even in the multiple universes, it is an incredibly rare and precious treasure. I've never seen something else like it in all my years. Once you have obtained it, you'll become a powerful existence." Red Crystal King stared at Zhong with a heated gaze, every word he spoke filled with fervor. Zhong's heart leaped slightly, but he still asked in wariness, "Who is your enemy? How strong is he exactly?" The Red Crystal King was only left with a head and covered with injuries. Even when nailed to the throne, Zhong still felt like that was an immense pressure and danger emitting from this figure in front of him. It was as though he was not weaker than Zhong at all. How strong would the enemy of such a powerhouse be? Red Crystal King spoke solemnly, "My enemy is called the Serene Sea King, a powerful existence of the Serene Sea in the galaxy. That year, when he attacked me by surprise, he was a peak Type 12 Galaxy Lord level powerhouse. His talent, coupled with the vast amount of resources in the Izuma universe, with the countless years of cultivation, he should have reached the Type 13 Universe Lord stage." He continued, "In the universe, a Type 10 powerhouse is termed as a Star-Lord expert. A Type 10 powerhouse would be able to reign over a rich planet. A Type 11 powerhouse would be called a Great Star-Lord expert, controlling 10 rich planets. A Type 12 powerhouse is termed as a Galaxy Lord and can control an entire galaxy. A Type 13 powerhouse would be a Universe Lord, controlling a universe. Initially, I was the owner of the Izuma universe, a peak Type 13 powerhouse." Red Crystal King then said, "With your current strength, it is enough to contend with a Type 11 Star-Lord expert. If you gain my God-Devil system, even if a Type 12 Great Star-Lord were to attack you, you can still escape. As long as you are given enough time to evolve, you can definitely kill the Serene Sea King. How about it? It should be considered a decent deal, right?" Zhong pondered before replying solemnly, "Fine. I promise you." There was a passionate look in the eyes of the Red Crystal King. "Very good, let's swear a heavenly oath. As long as we do it, the God-Devil system is yours." What? Light waved her hands and a golden sacred light entered Zhong's consciousness, turning into mysterious runes. On them there was the closure of the deal between the Red Crystal King and Zhong. If Zhong were to go against his oath and disregard the issue about the revenge, the God-Devil system would leave Zhong finding a new master. At the same time, there were other enemies of the Red Crystal King, but the Serene Sea King was the one that had to be killed. The rest of them could be ignored by Zhong, but the Serene Sea King could not be let off. Zhong saw that there were no problems with the oath, and after checking through, imprinting them on his mind. The moment the runes were formed, the AI light flew towards Zhong, swiftly forming an unassuming black battle blade. Chapter 12-17, Omnipotent, Omniscient, Omnipresent, Finale. Chapter 10-25, Omnipotent, Omniscient, Omnipresent, Finale. When the black battle blade flew towards Zhong, a huge amount of information poured into his consciousness. Everything happening in the great God world, Earth, as well as the other 800 worlds, could be sensed by him with a single thought. Zhong tried out by willing something, and on a barren planet with no signs of life whatsoever, a golden, sacred beam of light shot down, shining on the planet. Soon, the icy cold planet began to brim with life, and a sun appeared in the atmosphere of the planet, shining on the planet. Clouds began to form, while lightning and thunder occurred, and rain fell upon the planet. Water bodies began to form in the huge craters and started to appear similar to the oceans on Earth. Then, some single-cell organisms began to appear within the ocean, as they evolved into plankton-like creatures, which did not stop evolving into marine life. As the entire planet continued to evolve, becoming a planet capable of sustaining life, many biological life forms appeared and continued to evolve as well. At the same time, according to Zhong's will, the main inhabitants of the planet began to evolve a pair of white wings, as well as a white radiance over their heads, and all of them were female. It was like an entire race of angels. Amazing. So this is the power of creation. With this God-Devil system, I'm an omnipotent existence within the 800 worlds. Zhong watched the planet evolve, his heart filled with excitement. He was now like the God of the Bible, able to create anything that the system had a blueprint or knowledge of. At the same time, he could easily annihilate anything within the 800 worlds as well. As he swept out with his will, he could sense that the energy consumption was high. It's too much energy. The Red Crystal King spoke. Creation, time control, and hastening evolution of any life form all require loads of power. The mutant beasts' nuclei, as well as those from the tentacular beasts, are all good energy sources. Other than them, there are other efficient energy sources out there in the universes. However, mutant beasts' nuclei and tentacular beasts are still among the top few sources. One can also use nuclei as a universal currency. He then turned to Zhong with a look of relief. Now, please kill me. After being reduced to a mere head, and nailed to the Red Crystal Throne for countless millennia, the Red Crystal King had enough. He just wanted to be released from his misery. Fine. Zhong took up the black battle blade, his gaze turning cold as he urged his cells once more, pushing his strength to jump over 48 times. He then slashed down at the head of the Red Crystal King. Dang. When his blade landed on the head of the Red Crystal King, it caused a deafening blast, and the decapitated head seemed to have blocked the attack. Time stopped for a mere second, before the black battle blade from the system burst out with a terrifying radiance, slicing through the Red Crystal King, together with the broken soul. The moment the head of the Red Crystal King was destroyed, the long spear and nails stuck in him turned into ash and disappeared. Once he was killed, a pure and abundant life force entered Zhong's body, nourishing and pushing him to the next stage of evolution. After killing the Red Crystal King, Zhong willed it and immediately received the information on Tentacular Planet. Making use of the God-Devil system, he could check the entirety of a planet, and during his search he came across an interesting thing. That is Amano. Interesting, his strength had actually reached the true God stage, but in order not to be teleported to the Tentacular Planet, he actually suppressed his own cultivation. Zhong laughed lightly, and with a thought, he disappeared from his original location. In the great God world, there was a secret corner, where the three main races were all gathered together. The 10,000 Devils Altar, the Man-Eater Temple, and the Holy Heavens had all disregarded their enmity to face the greatest threat to their existence. The planet of the 10,000 Devils Altar had transformed into a huge giant, exuding a terrifying and baleful aura, its demonic wings flapping behind. The man-eater's temple had also transformed into a giant with a single horn and possessed long canines and sharp claws. The great god world had transformed into a silver battleship. With these three immensely powerful existences, they were the last resorts of the three major races. Forming them required the combination of all the elite powerhouses of their respective races. The combat strength was incredibly high, and within a short time, they were capable of displaying the strength of a true god warrior. However, such a method required an incredible amount of resources. With the accumulation of their resources, it would still eat into their reserves. Once this strength was utilized for more than 4 hours, their accumulated resources would be gone in an instant. In the void, Amano had transformed into a huge black hole, exerting his suction force at a rapid speed. It was a powerful whirlpool, firmly grabbing hold of the two giants as well as the battleship. The two giants and the battleship struggled frantically to pry themselves away from the whirlpool. However, regardless of how they struggled, they could not get away. In the holy heavens, the remaining heavenly Lord Zhujian stared at the whirlpool, his eyes filled with shock. Damn it! This Amano is too ferocious. What the hell is he? How could he possess such strength? He could actually take on the final trump cards of all three of us. Is he at the true god stage? Only a true god would be able to utilize his own strength to move an entire planet, going against the three races, while the rest could only watch helplessly. Currently, in the great god world, all the experts were standing at their assigned places, continually channeling their strength into vital points. From time to time, there would be Type 5 powerhouses who were absorbed clean of their strength and turned to dust. Near one particular point, a dozen young men and women stood close by, sending their strength frantically into the point. No! One of the young women suddenly turned pale, and let out a scream of despair as she withered and turned into ashes. Seeing this, the rest of the young men and women had changes in expressions, their eyes filled with shock. Among them, Wuxia was pale as she turned to George and asked, "Father, are we going to die?" All the human experts had been gathered back within the holy heavens, including George and his family. George's face turned pale and tried to assure, "No, we will definitely emerge victorious. We still have Sir Zhujian and he will lead us to victory." Lena's face was pale as she screamed out, "No, it's hopeless. I know that monster, I've seen it in an ancient text. That is the first true god expert of ancient times. After he is resurrected, no one is his match. We will all become his food, it's all over for us." She had always known this fact, which was pressuring her. Now she could not help but spit it out. What? The ancient first true god expert? We're finished? Such an existence, as long as he is not exterminated properly, even with a sliver of his soul left, he could resurrect and quickly rise to the true god level once more. We're dead. At first, everyone had guessed that things were not looking good. However, hearing the truth, their eyes were filled with despair. However, they did not dare relax, as the moment they did so, they would be sucked into the vortex, swallowed by Amano. Right at that time there was a tear in space and Zhong walked out directly. Seeing Zhong appear, Amano's heart turned cold as he retracted his whirlpool, and asked Zhong warily, "I am Amano, may I ask who are you, friend?" As the first true god expert since ancient times, Amano possessed a terrifying perception and could sense a threatening level of danger emitting from Zhong. Within the holy heavens, George looked up and was taken aback. "That's Zhong." Wuxia had an excited look in her eyes as she cheered, "It's true. That is big brother Zhong. He's back from the Tower of Babel. We're saved." Lena eyed Zhong, her eyes full of shock before turning into excitement. Tears started to flow as she muttered, "It's Zhong, he's Zhong. He's back from the Tower of Babel. We're saved." Jody heaved a sigh of relief as he smiled. "He's back. That's great." All the displays of the holy heavens had been ignited, broadcasting Zhong's image for everyone to see. What's going on? Zhujian could sense the displays of the holy heavens lighting up. He frowned. After all, he did not give the order to broadcast any images of the battle in the void. Zhong spoke coldly, "I'm Zhong. Amano, try throwing me your strongest attack. I know you're already at the true god level. If you can't kill me, just die." What an arrogant tone. "I'll let you witness it then. Even if I have to be summoned to Tentacular planet, I will kill you." Amano raged and tore open his seal as a terrifying true god fluctuation emitted out. It was vast and caused everyone else to feel a deep sense of terror. So strong. True God. He's really at the true God realm. What a terrifying fellow. Amano's strength shocked the three great races, forcing those of the Type 6 realm and below to their knees. Their faces were pale and it was hard to even breathe. For them, it was easy for a true God powerhouse to kill them with a single thought. There was nothing they could do. Boundless might poured out from Amano's body, as he began to transform into a golden giant of over hundreds of meters in height, his body covered in golden bone blades. In an instant, Amano had slashed out with over 1,000,000 strikes, completely covering the sky, attacking Zhong in a frenzy. Without any sound, a golden silhouette appeared behind Zhong, as two bone blades came slashing down imbued with the laws of blade and slash. The figure was as fast as light. By the time the three peak experts had realized it, he had already appeared behind Zhong, about to slash through him. With just this capabilities? Truly disappointing. The first true God expert of ancient times just barely SOSO. As the bone blades were about to slash through Zhong pointed out with a finger on the forehead of Amano. There was a loud blast as Amano began to crumble apart. No. Impossible. I'm the strongest. How can I be killed by you? I'm unwilling. The remnant soul of Amano screamed out in reluctance, before dissipating forever from the world. Zhuojian saw how Zhong took out the strongest being Amano with a single finger, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. What? Amano was killed just like that? How is that possible? How could he be so strong? How? Dead. The first true God expert was killed. Unbelievable. Strong. Zhong is too strong. Seeing Zhong floating in midair, everyone in the holy heavens was filled with reverence and worship. Many female elites were also smitten. Wuxia was no exception, her eyes sparkling. Amazing! Big brother Zhong. You're too cool. George was filled with excitement. Strong. Thankfully I became friends with him. The man-eater races shall no longer exist. Zhong stood there, coldly eyeing the man-eater race before pointing down. In an instant, a huge finger congealed out of nothing pressed down towards the giant formed as a last resort of the man-eater race. The single-horned giant of the man-eater race roared out in anger, punching out with towards the finger. Unfortunately, the finger of Zhong was enough to crush the entire giant, causing the entire planet to implode on itself, dissipating into nothing. Just like this, one of the four great races of the great god world was wiped away by Zhong. Great. Awesome. Long live Zhong. Sir Zhong, you're too amazing. Seeing the man-eater race wiped out by Zhong, cheers erupted throughout the holy heavens. The man-eaters preyed on humans after all, and many humans had fallen to them. With this great enemy wiped out, the elites of the holy heavens were filled with respect and admiration for Zhong. After that, Zhong turned to face the 10,000 devils altar, his voice cold. Other than the charming devil race, the flower devil race, etc., the rest is to be wiped out. With those words, the various experts of the devil race, regardless of whatever corner they were hiding in, all exploded into bits. In an instant 90% of the devils had died. Zhong controlled the god-devil system now, and all the life forms within the 800 worlds all fell under his control. Only those outside the 800 worlds were outside of the scope of the god-devil system's powers. The remaining devils were all extremely beautiful and had charms. However, their combat abilities were not particularly high. Furthermore, they were not aggressive, and Zhong could utilize them as wallflowers or maidservants. Zhong then looked down at them, asking sternly, "Do you agree to submit to me and address me as your lord?" "Yes. We're willing. We'll serve you wholeheartedly, and be your loyal servants forever." The surviving devils all kneeled, their bodies trembling as they swore to Zhong. They were helpless against his omnipotence. Zhong then swiftly announced, "Very good, Kaiyin, Yuhua, Mingxiang and Luohua, the four of you shall be the new four great devil lords of the 10,000 devils altar, in charge of managing it for me." The four of them were the most adept and most experienced at managing the rest of the devils, and could quickly organize them and resettle the devils after the turmoil. When the four of them heard it, they replied respectfully, "Yes, Master." Having killed Amano, and settling the remaining devils, Zhong disappeared from his location. The next moment he appeared back on Earth. Due to the gates of hell being closed, Earth was currently in a chaotic mess, with numerous races fighting over the right to rule. At the same time, the number of aliens hidden had proliferated to a terrifying degree, and the entire planet had traces of them. Currently, there were many aliens gathered outside of China's capital, intending to launch a crazy assault. Numerous mechs and mech beasts were on the front lines clashing with the oncoming aliens. All sorts of mechanical parts and the corrosive blood of the aliens splattered everywhere throughout the battlefield. Troops were being decimated at every second. As for the humans, other than a few top elites, most of them could not even help. Through this period, the aliens had already produced over a dozen Type 8 powerhouses. There were even 10 half-step Type 9 aliens, leading the armies to attack the defenses of the capital, forcing them back. Even with Mech Emperor Zhu Yuanting commanding the forces, there was no way of beating the aliens back. Within the command center of the capital, Ji Qingwu, Chen Yao, and the rest of the upper echelon were watching in rising apprehension. Although there was Zhu Yuanting holding the fort, and could maintain the security for a short while, if this continued on, the whole of China would fall sooner or later. Ji Qingwu watched the endless horde, and thought to herself amidst the anxiety, if only he was here. Were you thinking of me? Just then a voice rang out in the room, and everyone swiveled to find Yu Zhong behind them. Yu Zhong. Big brother. Leader. Sir Yu Zhong. Everyone erupted in cheers. Yu Zhong was an invincible existence in their hearts. Ji Qingwu came up to him and asked in worry, Yu Zhong, when you were not around, the evolution of the aliens were too fast. Right now, the entire Earth is covered with those aliens. What do we do? On Earth, the greatest threat to humanity was not the experts of the other races, but the aliens. Their reproduction speed was too terrifying. As long as they were hidden in some corner for a period of time, they would re-emerge with insane numbers. Furthermore, if one was not careful, there could be infections of humans becoming hosts and food for the aliens. It's simple, we'll just wipe them all out. Yu Zhong laughed simply and spoke, I hereby declare that all the aliens are to be wiped out from Earth. The moment those words fell, the billions of aliens rampaging throughout Earth exploded, not leaving even a single cell behind. Seeing that, everyone was stunned. From today onwards, we have no need to fear any strange creatures or monsters anymore. Yu Zhong laughed and embraced Ji Qingwu, Floxinia, and the various women that came jumping into his arms. 2 years later. On the beaches of Hawaii, Tong Xiaoyun, Qinyao, Zhuoyatong, Yin Shuang, Han Qiong were all playing around in bikinis. Yu Zhong laid on the sand, while Basia was kneeling beside him and massaging his legs, while Lina helped to peel grapes for him. Ji Qingwu was also dressed in a black bikini, laying on the sand while donning a pair of sunglasses. Numerous beauties of the devil's race, the angel's race, the flower devil's race, etc. were gathered around, acting as maids to them. It was practically a heavenly scene. All of a sudden Yu Zhong spoke, Qingwu, I'm intending to head to Azuoma Universe. There was a strange glint in her eyes as she asked in a low voice, when? In 3 days' time. She stood up, coming up to his side, and buried herself in his embrace, planting a deep kiss on his lips. All right. Come back soon. Remember, we are all waiting for you on Earth. Got it? 3 days later, Yu Zhong brought the God-Devil system with him as he stepped out of Earth, beginning a new adventure. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.